Well, I would love to just focus on the 4-0 Philadelphia Eagles, and I would love to say, hey, can't wait for our second opinion segment later today where we unpack some more things from the Eagles game that we did not get a chance to get to yesterday. But there's a reason why there are things that we didn't have a chance to get to yesterday, and that, of course, was the cryptic tweet from one A.J. Brown. Now, I will say this. Good morning, John Kincade, first and foremost.
Good morning for the 400th time, Andrew Salciunas.
Oh, that's right. Happy show number 400, man.
And Connor Thomas.
We celebrated leading up in Clearwater. And
we did.
And Connor watched us on social media. Looks fun.
It was.
When it comes to the Eagles game yesterday and the reaction that we had to it, we did not spend 4 hours on the A.J. Brown tweet. There was a lot to unpack.
We didn't spend more than like 20 minutes on it.
Yeah, because there was offensive issues in the second half, which, of course, led to the A.J. Brown tweet. There were defensive issues at times in the game, and, of course, the pass rush, a problem that I was totally worried about going into the season, has kind of showed its ugly head so far. Now, part of it's obviously Nolan Smith being out. We understand that. There's context to everything. But now that we are another day removed from the game, and now that there's not as much emotion when it comes to the game itself, I do want to spend more time on the situation that we got going on right now with A.J. Brown and the Philadelphia Eagles, because we can't just ignore this. This can't just be something where it's like, all right, well, another day's been removed. It's time to move on, because here's the deal. Nick Serriani had his day after press conference yesterday. And what was half of the press conference spent on? What A.J. Brown had to tweet out. What will be a lot of the press conference today for Kevin Patullo? It's going to be, hey, how are you going to get A.J. Brown the ball? What are you going to do to get him more involved? What's tomorrow's press conference when Jalen Hurts does his midweek media availability? It's going to be A.J. Brown related, and maybe that's usually when other players speak as well. So A.J. Brown may speak tomorrow.
He may.
But the deal is, this story is not going to go away until he speaks and until we see the following game. Because if you remember, I don't have to go far back, John. The Carolina Panthers game that was horrible, that led to a win, but it was horrible. We had a week's worth of discussion over what was going on in that locker room. Now, a lot of it was because of Brandon Graham, and he is to blame for that, not the media trying to stir things up. Brandon Graham goes on a radio show and says that A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts have beef. And then, unfortunately, we have to wait until the midweek point when A.J. Brown talks about it, when Jalen Hurts talks about it. But it's not necessarily words. It's the actions that follow. And the following week was the Steelers game. And then we had the great moment from Jalen Hurts when he sits down at the podium and he drops the, is that what y'all wanted to see? Now we're going to have to also wait until the Broncos game on Sunday to see how A.J. Brown is used in the game. Because if he's used in a way where it may lead to another cryptic tweet, the messaging will continue. And this is why yesterday we tried making the point that this tweet, it's not even his words, it's scripture. Whatever he posted is so counterproductive, because then it leads to conversations like this. And unfortunately, we catch heat for it. Oh, you guys are going to spend time on this. Oh, it's the media's fault. No, it all starts with hitting send, and it never needed to be hit.
Well, obviously, A.J. needs to meet with his pastor or whatever to understand Scripture, because, again, he didn't understand the message of the Scripture, so he needed to find another verse because he went counterculture to the Scripture. He totally ignored it. He went the opposite direction. But the big problem is that I really did, and we talked about it off the air, I wanted to just be able to, like, deal with it a little bit yesterday, and then we move on from it.
Sure.
After yesterday. But then I heard Nick Sirianni. And Nick Sirianni's late for his press conference yesterday. Which, by the way, is completely disrespectful.
Yeah, like I like Nick. You like Nick. We all
like him
have
a lot.
said that Nick Sirianni has grown as the CEO, head coach. But this is a problem.
When NFL head coaches have their press conferences, the NFL Network actually airs some of these.
Sure.
And they will say, this coach is coming up at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. And you know what they do? The coaches come up at those times, and they air them. There's a reason for that.
Now, maybe.
Be respectful of times. Now, I have a feeling.
Maybe the meeting was, he said, I'm late because of a meeting. Maybe the meeting was with A.J. Brown, and maybe he wanted to prepare how he was going to talk. I don't know.
Well, if they did have a meeting yesterday to prepare him how to talk, I'm going to tell you this, and I have been extremely praiseworthy of Nick Sirianni and how he has grown as a speaker.
Correct.
And how he has, I think he has owned press conferences for around a year and a half.
Sure.
2 years. He's gotten so
We've
good
seen
at
a
it.
maturation process from Nick Sirianni.
I texted you, voice texted you from a Wegmans parking lot yesterday after picking up stuff. And I said, that was the worst answer Nick Sirianni has given to a question to start a press conference since his first year. And to me, Nick Sirianni was completely unprepared, or he doesn't have an answer, and now that gives me more concern.
And so we're going to play this for you and pull you behind the curtain a little bit here, like we always like to do. When Connor first walked in, Connor, I said to you, hey, I want Nick Sirianni's first answer unedited. Now, this does not mean he cursed in it. Like, we're not talking FCC regulations. We're talking the hemming and hawing, the not necessarily knowing what to say, because to your point, John, when it seems like you don't know what to say, you may not have an answer on the situation. And maybe it's frustration because the Philadelphia Eagles are 4-0.
And he's having to deal with this nonsense.
The Eagles, to Nick Sirianni's defense, had a hard-fought win in 100-degree temperatures against a team that has had your number over the years, and you were able to hold on for dear life. You're 4-0. You're the second, only two 4-0 teams in the NFL, the only one in the NFC. You're the defending Super Bowl champs. Vibes should be high, and yet they're not. So maybe Sirianni is just frustrated. But here was Nick Sirianni. You'll hear the question from Tim McManus, how the press conference started yesterday. Again, this is why stuff like this is counterproductive, because now the entire press conference, or half of it, will be spent on A.J. Brown. Here's the interaction between Tim McManus and Nick Sirianni yesterday during Sirianni's day after press conference.
Nick, I'm sure you saw the AJ post on social media where he quoted scripture and said, if you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw, don't make a scene, shrug your shoulders, and be on your way. Is it your understanding that AJ still wants to be here?
Yeah. Obviously AJ is very important to this football team. I know he wants to contribute. And, do the things that he's capable of doing. He wants to contribute into these wins. And he's had a couple games where he hasn't been able to, and for different reasons of why we haven't in these games. So, but I question nothing about, his desire to play great football, his desire of being a good teammate, his desire to be here.
So you said that's his worst answer.
That was the worst answer. That was as if I didn't read the book and I'm answering a question in one of those ones like a blue book, a blue book exam.
You mean my entire college career?
Where you try to like bluff your way through an answer. He wants to contribute. He said that like 3 or 4 times in one answer. Yeah, we get you, Nick. He's the top wide receiver on the team. He's the star player. We get it. He wants to contribute. And then he says, and there are reasons in the games why it didn't happen. And then he stops himself. And he doesn't tell us the reasons. So what are the reasons? He stops himself. That is the worst answer Nick Sirianni has given in his tenure in a while, because now he was coached up for that press conference. I guarantee you.
Oh yeah, we know how great that PR
they do a great
is
job
for the Eagles.
He wants to contribute. There are reasons for it. I'm telling you, that was a distraction yesterday of an nth degree for that coaching staff.
So our question off the jump: what do you do? All right, we'll discuss this coming up next. But what do you do? And no, I'm not saying you get rid of them. But what do you do? And the reason why I asked that question is because there is an answer that people will give. And I'm telling you right now, it can't be the answer, or at least it's not as simple as a lot of you and us sometimes make it out to be. I'll tell you what next is Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Unfiltered with Ricky Bo, Bill
We're trying to build something special here, that we're trying to do things differently here, that we don't have to do the clickbait and the rage bait, that we want to try to do sports talk that actually provides value to the listener. And we try to do that every single day on this show. But it expands a lot further than just this show. This is a movement that we are trying to bring across 97.5 The Fanatic. So when we say the words make the switch, we're not only talking to you, the listeners. We're not only talking to you, the viewers. We're talking to the talent out there, too. Because we want everybody in this city to make the switch to real sports talk right here at 97.5 The Fanatic. And it is my honor to tell you the next person to make the switch, Johnny Marks.
Hey!
My
Is
man.
this on right there?
Johnny Marks bringing him back home to 97.5 The Fanatic. How many years has it been, my brother?
9 years next month was my last day at the Fanatic. October of 2016.
Nice. Man, oh, man.
He's
Ricky
back.
Bo, Johnny Marks
Yeah.
in the house.
Yeah. Yesterday against the Bucs, and this is what I think people aren't talking about enough from yesterday because everybody just wants to point the finger and say the offense sucks, Kevin Patullo sucks, all right? That is a very difficult place to win. The Eagles know that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are among the best 6 to 8 teams in the NFL, and they are a physical, and they are a good team. That is a playoff team, and that is a team that wants to go blow to blow, blow for blow with you. And they're not afraid to do that. And they very easily could have packed it in. They didn't. And they came out swinging in the second half. The Eagles' game plan and their offense in the first half yesterday, they came out, they were awesome. They had the umbrellas, the shades, or whatever they had. They were prepared because they saw what happened in previous years. And they said, we're not going to go down there and we're not going to let that happen again. Very smart by the Eagles to go down there and what they did. And you know what happened? In the second half, the Bucs made adjustments, and the Eagles, I think, were slow to adjust offensively, and it just seemed like that they were exhausted. And as the game went on, they had some injuries, they had guys that were cramping up, and give the Buccaneers credit. They made adjustments. You're playing against another team. It's not supposed to be easy for the entire game, and the Bucs made adjustments. And they came out, and they really gave it to the Eagles in the second half. A couple fluky long plays, but still. So that was a really, really good win by the Eagles yesterday. All right, because this
What do you do
this
here? Or we do the show.
What do you do with A.J. Brown here? Okay, and this is not a simple question, and it's also not as simple as just moving on. So I just want to address one of our YouTube comments, Johnny, and
Okay.
you know, I feel like I need to put a leash on you because I know you're gonna be like a rabid dog.
Why do you say that?
Matt chimes in on YouTube. Only sports radio shows care about press conference answers. Let's move on.
Yeah, really?
Here's the deal, Matt. Look, first and foremost, yeah, you know the job. Like, you guys listen, we appreciate you. We're gonna react. We're gonna react to that kind of stuff, right? Like, drama, unfortunately, sells. And trust me, John and I have made it very clear. We would love to just enjoy wins and just celebrate and have a good time. You and I, John, on the bus ride back from Raymond James Stadium, even though the second half was crap, we were in high spirits. And then you were on social media.
And
you saw the
"Oh."
A.J. Brown
I said,
tweet.
"Oh."
And then all of a sudden, you, me, and some of the fine people that sat around us, the row in front of us, to our side, you read the tweets of some people, and everybody went, oh, come on. Everybody.
The entire bus.
Everybody.
Then it started to spread. And the entire bus was like, Are you kidding me?
This is not a, hey, we're on Sports Talk Radio. We're on a bus with our fellow Eagles fans, and everybody's like, come on, man, this is really what's going to happen.
Are you doing this?
Because also everybody knows what then will follow. And yes, Sports Talk Radio, we'll talk about it. But it's not just us. Like, Serriani has to deal with this.
And he did not like it yesterday.
No, clearly.
He did not like
you could tell in that answer.
He didn't like dealing with that. And why should he? Why should he have to deal with that? And the thing is, it's all A.J. Brown. And yesterday, it was very, very clear. It was very, very clear he was not prepared to come up with an answer to be able to explain to us what the hell was going on.
And so when I asked the question, what do you do, Ryan? We'd love to hear from you, because if you have the answer, you could be a head coach, 610-632-0975. But one answer that you can't give is just give him the ball.
Can't do it because you got to get it to him.
Let's look at his targets the last couple of weeks. Week 1 was horrible. 1 target, 1 catch, 8 yards in the win against the Cowboys. Week 2, 8 targets, 5 catches for 27 yards. I did not like how they used him in the offense. They were very conservative against the Kansas City Chiefs, but he had 8 targets. In the win against the Rams, second half majority, 10 targets, 6 catches, 109 yards. 10 targets is kind of where you always want it to be with A.J. Brown. So this past game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 9 targets. The only problem was 2 catches, 7 yards, and that's why yesterday on the show I wanted to make sure to put some time to focus on Jalen Hurts and his lack of a performance in the second half, because there were times where A.J. Brown was open, or if he got the ball to him quicker. Jalen did not play well in the second half. But to then put out that tweet after the game, that then leads everybody wondering, all right, who is this about? Because you are getting your targets. Whether you like where you're getting targeted, okay, we can have a conversation. But does that have to be on social media?
And again, I'll reiterate it again. And by the way, I don't disagree with I understand the YouTube comment that,
sure,
it's, media does care about it because it is our job. But it's also, it dominated the press conference yesterday. It dominated the press conference for a reason, because A.J. Brown made himself the story.
Right.
After a 4-0 football team.
Yeah.
It was incredibly selfish. It was incredibly dumb to go do that after that game. But I understand the sentiment of, why the hell do we have to deal with this? Well, A.J., if he would stop doing it, we wouldn't have to deal with it.
Right. Like, it's like, it goes back to last year when we had the guy who paid God knows how much money to fly the plane
right,
above Lincoln Financial Field before the Steelers game. Something about, fake news, sports talk media. I forget exactly what the banner said.
Which, by the way, was incredibly proven wrong.
Right, because Brandon Graham was the one who said it.
Correct.
Unless you're calling him a media member, because technically he was, and technically he is now. So maybe that's what it is. But like, Matt, I'll look at you in the eyes. Like, I would love to just talk about the Eagles being 4-0 and the issues on the field, right? Like the issues of, man, what can Kevin Patullo do to make this offense better? We all see it. We all saw that A.J. Brown had a less than stellar performance on Sunday, and it's not necessarily his fault. We all saw that Jalen Hurts struggled on Sunday. But unfortunately, we can't just come on here the next morning or 2 days later to talk about it when the head coach has to spend, 7 minutes out of a 14-minute press conference on the tweet that was posted. This is no chicken or the egg theory. It's one theory. It's who started it, and it's A.J. Brown.
And again, when the head coach has to talk about it, and the head coach says he wants to contribute, and then says, but there were reasons, and then stops himself. What are the reasons? Come on, Nick. Tell us.
Well,
what are the reasons?
He's got another crack at it on Wednesday during his midweek media availability, which he'll be asked about it.
Yeah, tell us the reasons.
And again,
what are the reasons?
Be prepared for Patullo's today. Be prepared for Jalen Hurts on Wednesday. Be prepared for hopefully A.J. Brown on Wednesday when he speaks. And knowing him, he will address it. Remember,
I hope so.
Last 2023 when he didn't speak to the media after the Niners game.
But he took 10 days on that one, by the way. I did check.
Okay.
It took 9 days. It took 9 days for him to do it, but hopefully he will. It was a Monday night game, and it took him till the following Wednesday to address it.
Yeah.
So hopefully he will, though. I'll tell you, he is a gentleman.
Yes, he is.
He's a gentleman, and so hopefully he will.
This is why yesterday we kept on saying throughout the show, tweets like this are counterproductive because now we spend time on it and Nick has to spend time on it. You'll hear more from Nick Serriani coming up next. Also, a teammate of A.J. Brown's that was in the locker room at the exact same time took a totally different approach. It's Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Wrapping up Week 4. I'm Connor Thomas, and NFL Week 4 is officially wrapped, and the Eagles are one of 2 remaining unbeaten teams as we head into Week 5. Through the first month, the Birds' record may be perfect, but there have been plenty of questions about production on the field. Nick Sirianni met with media yesterday to talk about the second-half struggles down in Tampa Bay.
We were really successful in the first half and wasn't as successful as second half. We had some plays that moved backwards, which again was kind of some of the things that happened in the previous game. So again, need to be explosive, need to protect the football, and need to be efficient.
So we've seen pieces of the puzzle, but the Birds will look to put it all together as they take on the Broncos at the Link in Week 5. Denver moved to 2-2 last night with a 28-3 win over the Bengals on Monday Night Football in a doubleheader. The Phillies are continuing preparations for the NLDS. They'll have a team workout today at 1 p.m., and tomorrow we'll hold an inter-squad scrimmage open to fans at the Bank. Game 1s of the Wild Card Series begin today in baseball, including Reds-Dodgers, 9 p.m. tonight. The Phillies are playing the winner of that series. We'll talk to Jeff Mlan of the Inquirer coming up at 8:25. Amy Fadul for the entire 9 o'clock hour. This update is brought to you by Gary Barberos on the Boulevard, is Superbirds coach Nick, and Barberos on the Boulevard the best? Boy, I guess, and DallasStillSucks.com. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Every game day right before the Birds take the field. Check out the
Yesterday against the Bucs, and this is what I think people aren't talking about enough from yesterday because everybody just wants to point the finger and say the offense sucks, Kevin Patullo sucks, all right? That is a very difficult place to win. The Eagles know that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are among the best 6 to 8 teams in the NFL, and they are a physical, and they are a good team. That is a playoff team. And that is a team that wants to go blow to blow, blow for blow with you. And they're not afraid to do that. And they very easily could have packed it in. They didn't. And they came out swinging in the second half. The Eagles' game plan and their offense in the first half yesterday, they came out, they were awesome. They had the umbrellas, the shades, or whatever they had. They were prepared because they saw what happened in previous years. And they said, we're not going to go down there and we're not going to let that happen again. Very smart by the Eagles to go down there and what they did. And you know what happened? In the second half, the Bucs made adjustments, and the Eagles, I think, were slow to adjust offensively, and it just seemed like that they were exhausted. And as the game went on, they had some injuries. They had guys that were cramping up. And give the Buccaneers credit. They made adjustments. You're playing against another team. It's not supposed to be easy for the entire game. And the Bucs made adjustments. And they came out, and they really gave it to the Eagles in the second half. A couple fluky long plays, but still. So that was a really, really good win by the Eagles yesterday.
Philly fans, you are the best sports fans in the world. You're not stupid, so why should you have to hear outlandish takes that make you shake your head?
You shouldn't. That's why Unfiltered is the show for you. Each afternoon from 2 to 6, we only bring you honest opinions and analysis.
We may not agree all the time, but what you hear is what we genuinely believe. It's not some rage bait to try to spark conversation. So make the switch to Unfiltered with me, Bill Colarulo, my man Ricky Bo, and Silvana Kelleher.
more. Every weekday at 2 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Yesterday against the Bucs, and this is what I think people aren't talking about enough from yesterday because everybody just wants to point the finger and say the offense sucks, Kevin Patullo sucks, all right? That is a very difficult place to win. The Eagles know that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are among the best 6 to 8 teams in the NFL. With Nick Sirianni, where he literally could not give you a solid answer on what's going on with A.J. Brown other than him wanting to contribute more.
That's a very vague term, by the way.
Well, so I want to play another clip from Serriani. So you heard the first one where, Tim McManus asks about the posts and his want to be here, and maybe Nick was caught off guard on that question. I'm not entirely sure, but here's Serriani with another answer as to the A.J. Brown situation, why he may be upset, and what could make A.J. Brown happy.
Open, honest communication. And I think it starts with the relationship that you build with the guys before anything. So it's always about being open and being honest. It's always about the relationship. So I know he wants to contribute to what we're doing out there, especially when, we had the second half that we had. And again, like I said, never question the teammate he is, never question the effort that he plays with and the player that he is and the person that he is.
So I just want to address this because, again, shout out to our YouTube audience. We love you guys. You're with us every single day. We seriously appreciate it. And early on, before we get to our text line, that's my immediate, all right, what are the people thinking about what we're talking about?
Sure.
Today? Come on, move on from this. Move on from this. Move on from this. Do you not see the problem that the Eagles are 4-0? Again, hard-fought win against the Bucs. A lot of questions about the offense in the second half, but a hard-fought win ultimately. You have the best record in the NFL. Only one other team is also 4-0. And we have to spend time on a Monday morning press conference, Monday late afternoon press conference about a player wanting to contribute more to a 4-0 football team.
With a team that has, in a passing game, by the way, that has A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, all healthy, and as the Super Bowl MVP at quarterback. And they have just put up in their last 4 quarters 2 of the worst passing performances that have happened in the NFL. If you put those 2 quarters up there, 2 halves, in the last 17 seasons.
Yeah, it's criminal. And yet they won, which is crazy.
They did. But that's a story.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Whether you want it, whether you think it is or not, that's a problem.
And again,
it's epically bad.
I hate to always rewind the clock, but if I go back to last year with the Carolina Panthers, when A.J. Brown was asked, hey, what needs to improve on this team? And he said, the passing offense. I think he just said passing, period.
He said passing game.
We agreed. Nobody disagreed, and we weren't going to spend 20 hours on it, right? 5 days, 4 hours. We weren't going to spend 20 hours on it. It's just what then happened Monday night when Brandon Graham said what he had to say. If A.J. Brown spoke after the game yesterday and said, hey, I just think we do need to work on this, we're fine with it. Like, nobody is disagreeing with the sentiment because everybody sees, hey, this can't happen. You cannot complete zero passes in the second half of a football game unless you were up 40 points at halftime and you just ran the ball every single play in the second half. No, they attempted to throw, and they couldn't get anything going. So A.J. Brown being a captain, A.J. Brown being one of the leaders of the team, A.J. Brown being one of the better players of the team, if he feels the need to address something, we will listen and we will respect it, just like Jordan Mailata does, whenever Jalen Hurts does. We talked about Jalen Hurts and his real answer to Pam Oliver after the Rams game. Not the press conference Jalen Hurts where he kind of goes into robot mode, but when he was with Pam Oliver, we got to stop playing not to lose, that kind of stuff. They didn't do that the first half against the Bucs. They played to win. They stepped on their throat. And then for whatever reason, the second half, they said, you know what? No, let's dust them off and let them get back up.
Okay, here's what I'm going to say to you, though, is that you just mentioned a couple things, though, that make this different. Jordan Mailata, you mean when he talks?
Yes.
Jalen Hurts, when he talks.
Sure.
You mean grown men behind a microphone when they express as a leader of the team, when they talk.
Right, not
when they go to their phones, pull up a Bible verse that they clearly don't understand, and then tweet it out and cause this firestorm because everybody wants to be mysterious and have this, what does he mean? Who's he talking about? There's a complete difference. And by the way, that is in no way leadership. And that is in no way good teammating. That's not the way you go about it.
So I'm going to play another clip for you.
It's a bad moment. It's a bad moment.
And look,
it's a bad moment for a good. It's a bad moment for a good player, a really good player, and a good guy.
Right.
That needs to not do this crap.
It's counterproductive. So in the exact same locker room, probably around the exact same time, Jalen Carter was speaking with Ashlyn Sullivan of NBC Sports Philadelphia. And I don't think Jalen Carter said this just because he saw a tweet. Here was Jalen Carter talking about his performance and the Eagles' victory.
I'll say this was a little more anxiety-ridden than it needed to be at the end of the game, but the importance of getting this big win on the road, no matter what it looked like at the end of the game.
Oh, yeah, it's big. At the end of the day, I just said this in my head. I'd rather, have a bad game with a dub than have 6 sacks with a loss, So at the end of the day, you see everybody smile. They over there doing a shadow boxing, Saquon and them. It just smiles on people's faces. And that's what I'd rather have than, trying to just do solos out there. I'd rather play as a team and, we eat off each other.
Now, let me make this clear. I'm not saying A.J. Brown's a guy that wants 200 yards receiving and a loss. I don't think that's true.
No,
I don't think that's true. Yeah.
No. The first part is true.
He wants to contribute.
No, the first part's true, though.
Or
he's worried, though. The stat sheet does matter to him much, much more than it matters to a Jalen Carter.
I don't want to go that far because
his comments last year, 2 days after the Super Bowl, tells you that. I thought I'd enjoy it more. I thought I want to contribute more. I want to be more. I want to load. He wants more stats. He wants more numbers. I admire it if that's what he wants to do. But no, he told us it matters.
See, I think when he says 2 weeks ago after the Chiefs game, he thinks it's a fair question to ask if it's sustainable. I think that's what his mindset is. I don't think his mindset is, I want to win and get mine. I think his mindset is, can we actually keep winning this way, which is the exact same questions we have on the show.
I'd suggest going back and reading the post-Super Bowl with the week after the Super Bowl wasn't even a week. And his comments about, I thought it would mean more. I thought I'd feel better.
Oh, I just read this. I thought he wanted to keep on
winning.
I
wanted to. No, I want more. I want to be a bigger part of it. I want to contribute more. He wants more numbers. He wants more stats.
Oh, dude, I didn't take that remotely, and I think that's a jump.
Then what do you say it is? Explain what it is then.
It's the weird mentality that he and Jalen Hurts have of, I'm not going to celebrate. It's the Scotty Scheffler.
I'm not satisfied with winning one as much as I thought I would be.
That's not what he said, though. He didn't say he wasn't. If he said, I just want to win another one, that's different. That's a totally different statement. I totally agree with you if that's what he said.
But he didn't mention numbers once, and you're making that jump.
The numbers is contribute. Nick Sirianni told you 3 times yesterday, contribute. That's numbers. He's talking about he knows what drives AJ. What drives AJ is contribute, contribute, contribute. That's what drives AJ is the number. And I said, I admire AJ for wanting to contribute. I love that. I love that he wants that. That's what wide receivers tend to want to do. They worry about stat sheets more than other guys.
I have his posts in front of me. I didn't.
The end of the season one, after the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Go read about it. What he wants to do. Like, what do you think of it? Because I want to hear what you think about it. How do you read it?
Word for word.
Right. How you read about it.
And also, when we check our text line for the first time this morning, I'm sure there's a lot of people thrilled that we're talking about it at 610-632-0975. I'm going to remind you of a question that I asked you after the Chiefs game. And we'll open that back up as well. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Philadelphia is a sports city full of passionate and knowledgeable fans.
Yesterday against the Bucs, and this is what I think people aren't talking about enough from yesterday because everybody just wants to point the finger and say the offense sucks, Kevin Patullo sucks, all right? That is a very difficult place to win. The Eagles know that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are among the best 6 to 8 teams in the NFL, and they are a physical, and they are a good team. That is a playoff team, and that is a team that wants to go blow to blow, blow for blow with you, and they're not afraid to do that. And they very easily could have packed it in. They didn't. And they came out swinging in the second half. The Eagles' game plan and their offense in the first half yesterday, they came out, they were awesome. They had the umbrellas, the shades, or whatever they had. They were prepared because they saw what happened in previous years. And they said, we're not going to go down there. We're not going to let that happen again. Very smart by the Eagles to go down there and what they did. And you know what happened? In the second half, the Bucs made adjustments. And the Eagles, I think, were slow to adjust offensively. And it just seemed like that they were exhausted. And as the game went on, they had some injuries. They had guys that were cramping up. And give the Buccaneers credit. They made adjustments. You're playing against another team. It's not supposed to be easy for the entire game. And the Bucs made adjustments. And they came out and they really gave it to the Eagles in the second half. A couple fluky long plays, but still. So that was a really, really good win by the Eagles yesterday.
Philly fans, you are the best sports fans in the world. You're not stupid, so why should you have to hear outlandish takes that make you shake your head?
You shouldn't. That's why Unfiltered is the show for you. Each afternoon from 2 to 6, we only bring you honest opinions and analysis.
We may not agree all the time, but what you hear is what we genuinely believe. It's not some rage bait to try to spark conversation. So make the switch to Unfiltered with me, Bill Colarulo, my man Ricky Bo, and Silvana Kelleher.
Every weekday at 2 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. I have A.J. Brown's post-Super Bowl Instagram post. I think it all comes down to how you read it.
It does. No, it absolutely does.
So I'm going to read it. I'll try to read it like Jalen. Monotone. All right.
Keep the main thing the main thing.
I'm going to try to keep it as monotone as possible, and you be the judge.
Why don't you try to read it like AJ would? Why would you read it like Jalen would? Jalen's not. AJ's not monotone.
I just mean like I'm not going to have any inflection on it. Like I'm not going to try to hit one word harder than another. Like I'm just gonna read it. All right.
Okay.
And everybody at home, and John and Connor and I will all unpack this. So this was the post after the Super Bowl.
This is before the parade, by the way.
Correct. After a few days, I've had time to reflect on being a champion. I tried to feel how everyone made it seem to be a champion, and unfortunately, it was short-lived. 2 days to be exact. LOL. I've never been a champion at the highest level before, but I thought my hard work would be justified by winning it all. It wasn't. My thrill for this game comes when I dominate. It's the hunt that does it for me. It's when the DB drops his head in surrender because he can't F with me. The intense battles, early mornings, late nights, sacrifices. I love putting smiles on people's faces, don't get me wrong, but it just wasn't what I thought it would be. It's the journey that I love the most. Back to work.
Now, I get exactly why Connor says he's talking about the back to work part.
That's what I saw the most.
I take it as, now I focused more on I've never been a champion before. I thought my hard work would be justified by winning it all. It wasn't. My thrill for this game comes when I dominate. That he wants to be the star. He wants to be the lead dog. He wants to be the focus, and he wasn't.
So I'm more on Connor's side, and it's amazing because everybody
good,
can read.
But the thing is, though, I understand where you guys would read that, and I think that's part of it.
But even the part that you highlighted, my thrill for this game comes when I dominate, I think he's saying I like playing more than like the celebration of the after the fact. Like, yeah, we won the Super Bowl. That's great, but I want to play again next week. Like that's how I
got it. I got it. It's what I also get is his coach yesterday. When his coach, who's coached up for that press conference, is talking about his player and his player being disgruntled and his player putting out a cryptic tweet. He talks about he wants to contribute, and with a wide receiver, he wants his numbers. That's what it's about. He wants his numbers. That's what a wide receiver, and wide receivers are divas by nature. It's just a term about numbers. That's how they're judged. And I totally get it. That's how he's judged. That's how he's one of the elite wide receivers of the game. But when he's talking, what Nick Sirianni couldn't stop saying contribute yesterday. He wants to contribute. He's not feeling he's contributing. He's not getting his numbers. He wants numbers. That's what he wants.
See that, but I take it as he wants to contribut toward the win in terms of like he wants to do more in the win. Like I don't. I get you. I don't take it that way.
I get you, but he's a guy that is not happy in a win. Jalen Carter. He's happy in a win without the numbers.
But A.J. Brown, again,
happy in a win without the numbers.
When after week 2, he says, I think it's a fair question to ask if it's sustainable. And that's why.
Well, wait a minute. It is a fair question to ask, and that's fine. But now it's 4-0. But again, you have other stars in the team. Happy with the win. This isn't what you need to do. You've won the game.
But I'll ask you, do you think the way they played in the second half against the Bucs is a sustainable way to win?
We did a show yesterday about it, and you know it, and you know that I think it's absolutely not. I think that the head coach is covering for an offensive coordinator that is not prepared. I think it's a offensive coordinator that is learning on the
job.
He's learning on the job. He obviously has skills because I think the red zone.
Oh, it's great.
Last night, I went back and watched something, Dork Boy. Went back and watched the 11 red zone possessions because they are perfect in the red zone for scoring touchdowns. By the way, I don't remember that with Andy Reid. I don't remember that with Shane Steichen.
Yeah, Brian Johnson was wretched at it.
Brian Johnson, they settled for field goals too often. So, again, I can say both things. I have been thrilled. The red zone production has been amazing. So the man knows how to design. He obviously can design some creativity plays. What he's obviously struggling in some other things.
Sometimes to get to the red zone.
And he's obviously struggling in the speed of the game. He's obviously struggling in some other things. I don't think this is a learn-on-the-job job. The offensive coordinator of the world champions with the best offensive toolbox in the game.
So my other question that
But
I
understand the two of you, the way you
we're
read
all
it,
taking it differently.
the way you read it, I totally get it. But I've also seen A.J. Brown in the past complaining about not getting the ball enough and not doing that. So I know his behaviors, and that reinforces to me that it's about me, it's about and after a win like that, there are people that would roll their eyes and go, "Are you kidding me? Come on, dude, stop."
Yeah, let's go. We just won a hard-fought game, and we were just sweating our rear ends off. My second question for 610-632-0975, and then Connor, let's get to our first text after this. I asked this question 2 weeks ago, and it almost feels like an even more appropriate time to ask it. I love when Jalen Hurts is at the podium and is honest about just wanting to win. We played you the back and forth with Chris Jones a couple of times. Chris Jones, defensive tackle, the Kansas City Chiefs. Man, you didn't even have 100 yards. We won the bleeping game. Shut your ass up. Like, that was an incredible, immediate human response by Jalen Hurts. And I asked you guys that next morning, or maybe Tuesday after the Chiefs game, do you think everybody feels that way? That they're just happy to win? And I'm not saying needing stats. I'm saying they're happy to win, but they realize there are things that need to improve. Like, I don't know if everybody is Jalen Hurts. Did we win? Result.
They aren't.
Did we win? We won? Okay, great. We won. Let's go on to the next week. I don't know if everybody feels that exact same way. So I want people to chime in on that as well. It's 610-632-0975. The answer is no, but I'm always ready for a debate. What do we got on the text line so far this morning, Mr. Thomas?
All right, so our first texter checks in here and says Hurts was 0 for 8 in the second half because they tried to force the ball to A.J. despite him having no separation the entire game. A.J. needs to play better before he can complain.
But I will say this. I pointed this out yesterday, which is why I wanted to spend time on Jalen Hurts as well. A.J. Brown was open down the sideline, the deep shot that Jalen threw like 10 yards out of bounds.
He was.
A.J. Brown on a comebacker was open. Hurts did not get it out quick enough, and the defensive back of the Buccaneers was able to recover and make the play. I saw that happen 2 times. There was a play where I don't believe it was A.J. Brown. I got to go back and watch it. I think it was Devontae Smith. I mentioned it a couple times. It was the 3rd and 2 where it was just a quick out route, and he had him.
Yeah,
Devontae Smith had his guy beat, and Jalen Hurts missed him by like 5 yards. So I know that topics like this will end up, and again, this is why this is counterproductive, because we're going to have texts like that, and I'm not blaming the texter.
No,
what
not
I'm saying
at all.
is we're going to start doing the whole, hey, this guy better start playing better before he starts talking. Well, it's not just him. It is Patullo. It is Jalen Hurts. It is A.J. Brown. He's not wrong. A.J. Brown against the Cowboys week 1 when he only had 1 target was not open. That's why he only had 1 target. It wasn't getting him in the game plan. He wasn't open.
There you go.
But against the Buccaneers, we were there, and we sat up high, so I saw how the play developed.
By the way, I love those seats.
I do too, because you could see more. I watched A.J. Brown get separation, Jalen missed him. This is a collective thing, but Jalen didn't put out a tweet. Kevin Patullo didn't put out a tweet.
And Jalen's thing was, my stats don't matter. The win is the win.
So coming up next, for the people that are wondering, when will this end? We'll give you the schedule of when it could come to an end, at least we hope. And we'll check more of our text messages on our topics today. It's 610-632-0975. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
First month in the books. I'm Connor Thomas, and the NFL has officially reached the 1-month mark. Week 4 is wrapped up, and the Eagles are one of 2 remaining unbeaten teams as we head into Week 5. Through the first month, the Birds' record may be perfect, but there have been plenty of questions about production on the field, especially with the offense. Nick Serriani met with media yesterday to talk about the second half struggles down in Tampa.
We were really successful in the first half and wasn't as successful as second half. We had some plays that moved backwards, which again was kind of some of the things that happened in the previous game. So again, need to be explosive, need to protect the football, and need to be efficient.
The Birds will look to put it all together in a full game as they take on the Broncos in Week 5 at Lincoln Financial Field. Denver moved to 2-2 last night with a 28-3 win over the Bengals. The Phillies are continuing preparations for the NLDS. Saturday, October 4th is Game 1. They're going to have a team workout today at 1 p.m. and tomorrow they've got that intra-squad open to fans Game 1s of Wild Card Series begin today in baseball, including Reds-Dodgers, which is at 9 p.m. The Phillies play the winner of that series. We're going to talk to Jeff Mlan of the Inquirer coming up at 8:25 for the latest on the Eagles. Amy Fadul joins the guys for the entire 9 o'clock hour. This update's brought to you by IHOP. With the new IHOP value menu, all your breakfast faves are just $6 every day. Go to your Happy Plates with the $6 IHOP value menu, available every day at IHOP, $7 in some locations. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5.
Yesterday against the Bucs, and this is what I think people aren't talking about enough from yesterday, because everybody just wants to point the finger and say the offense sucks, Kevin Patullo sucks, all right? That is a very difficult place to win. The Eagles know that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are among the best 6 to 8 teams in the NFL, and they are a physical, and they are a good team. That is a playoff team, and that is a team that wants to go blow to blow, blow for blow with you, and they're not afraid to do that. And they very easily could have packed it in. They didn't. And they came out swinging in the second half. The Eagles' game plan and their offense in the first half yesterday, they came out, they were awesome. They had the umbrellas, the shades, or whatever they had. They were prepared because they saw what happened in previous years. And they said, we're not going to go down there, and we're not going to let that happen again. Very smart by the Eagles to go down there and what they did. And you know what happened? In the second half, the Bucs made adjustments. And the Eagles, I think, were slow to adjust offensively. And it just seemed like that they were exhausted. And as the game went on, they had some injuries. They had guys that were cramping up. And give the Buccaneers credit. They made adjustments. You're playing against another team. It's not supposed to be easy for the entire game. And the Bucs made adjustments. And they came out, and they really gave it to the Eagles in the second half. A couple fluky long plays, but still. So that was a really, really good win by the Eagles yesterday.
Philly fans, you are the best sports fans in the world. You're not stupid, so why should you have to hear outlandish takes that make you shake your head?
You shouldn't. That's why Unfiltered is the show for you. Each afternoon from 2 to 6, we only bring you honest opinions and analysis.
We may not agree all the time, but what you hear is what we genuinely believe. It's not some rage bait to try to spark conversation. So make the switch to Unfiltered with me, Bill Colarulo, my man Ricky Bo, and Silvana Kelleher.
Every weekday at 2 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Be done, the A.J. Brown saga. Let's go through the schedule. We'll get to some text messages, and then I want to play the Serriani clip from yesterday that we started the show off with because, again, I don't know if Nick Sirianni was caught off guard by the exact questioning from Tim McManus or if he just does not have an answer because the Eagles are 4-0 and he'd rather focus on the Eagles being 4-0, and maybe he's just frustrated that he has to talk about this, much like a lot of you are frustrated listening to the show this morning saying, oh, my God, are we still on this? Yes, because Nick Sirianni still has to be on this. So when could this end, Johnny? So we know the press conference today for Kevin Patullo, that's going to be a part of the conversation, right? Like the first question will be A.J. Brown related. Hey, what are your conversations like with A.J. Brown? I wonder if anybody asks, do you feel a certain type of way about the statement from A.J. Brown? Because we don't necessarily know exactly who he's talking about. I know you got some birdies, but we don't know exactly who he's talking about.
What's going on?
So do you feel a certain type of way? There's going to be a lot of A.J. Brown questions, and I guarantee the other ones will be about the offensive line and the ground game because they seem to be struggling right now. So Patullo will speak today. Nick Sirianni will then speak again tomorrow for his Wednesday midweek media availability. Jalen Hurts usually speaks to the media on Wednesdays, right? The quarterback speaks post-game, Wednesday, Friday, post-game. It's the same thing over and over and over again. Now, some players are made available to the media on Wednesday. Usually your leaders, right? Usually your captains.
That is correct.
They don't have to. If they're doing treatment or if they just don't want to, they don't have to. It's not the obligation, right? The only guys with obligations are the coordinators, the head coach, and the starting quarterback.
The Eagles do usually treat it sort of an obligation.
Yeah, they do.
They treat it sort of that, which I respect about the organization.
Yeah. So we may hear from A.J. Brown tomorrow. Now, because there's really just going to be Patullo today, maybe we don't spend as much time on it tomorrow. But you know that come Thursday morning, we're going to react to what's said. Now, could it be squashed? And we play the clip one time and we go, well, that's better. Let's talk about the Phillies in Red October. Let's talk Eagles-Broncos. That could be a possibility. Or it could lead to more. What if he doesn't talk to the media on Wednesday? We're going to wonder, where is he? Why did he feel the need to put out that tweet and not back it up at a press conference? That's just letting you guys know it could get squashed as early as Wednesday and we react to it quickly on Thursday. Or this could bleed into next Sunday. And honestly, it's going to bleed into next Sunday regardless, because if A.J. Brown has another game where it's 2 catches for 27 yards, what are we all going to do Sunday afternoon? What time do the Eagles play? They play 1 o'clock or 4?
1 o'clock.
All right. What are we all going to be doing at 4:30? Refreshing Twitter. Is there another post? Is A.J. Brown speaking to somebody at his locker? If he is, what is he saying? What's the tone? What's the tenor of the conversation? Is it a celebratory day? Because we all may think that the Eagles are going to win.
I will guarantee you one thing. Some veteran in the locker room, will say to him this week, we can't be answering questions about you again.
Right.
We can't have this again. Because there is nothing that players in a locker room hate having to do is having to answer questions about another player.
And I remember you saying that after the Seahawks game.
They hate it. There's it's the worst thing. They get pissed about it. Because they don't even like having to answer questions themselves a lot of times, but having to answer questions about another player who's not talking, that's the worst. So I guarantee you somebody will say this week, dude, this isn't happening again. You deal with this. Clean this up because we got to do this.
All right. Give us a text, Connor, as you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studios, powering possibilities. We're back. We're back in One Ballot Plaza. Love it.
We are.
And then we'll play you the Nick Sirianni first question and answer from the press conference yesterday. But let's get a couple more text messages in, Connor.
Jeff from Broomall checks in, says, I'm so fed up with A.J. Brown every year. We have to go through this crap. To quote Jalen, we won the game. Shut your ass up.
Look, he can voice his frustration.
No. He can voice it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Voice, not the cryptic tweets.
And
it's not a shut your ass up. If he feels a certain type of way, if he thinks, hey, this isn't sustainable, which, I don't. John doesn't. Connor doesn't. No, not to put words in your guys' mouths, but
I don't.
I'm going to guess you guys don't think having halves like that, Bucs, Rams, Cowboys, having halves where your offense is non-existent, I don't think we all want to say that that's a sustainable way of winning, because it's not. So if A.J. Brown said it, we wouldn't disagree. But
No, in
saying
fact,
it and articulating it and why is important, not just these cryptic messages.
in fact, we would all wildly agree with A.J. Brown.
Yes, just like last year against the Panthers.
We
all did.
would agree with A.J. Brown that this is unacceptable.
So I don't want to say shut your ass up.
No.
It's put your phone down. That's what I want to say.
Maybe he doesn't trust himself to articulate it vocally. Like maybe the emotions of where he was at, speaking to media, he's like, I'm going to say something I shouldn't
And
say.
he did that 2 years
But he
ago,
did,
and I was
but-
fine with it. The tweet,
But he
though,
did do something. Here's the thing, Connor. By doing what he did something that caused all this. Where, I mean, it's worse. It's worse.
We don't know that it's worse. We don't
yeah,
know
you're
what he
right.
would have said.
Because he could have said, bleep this, I'm out. He could have done a Tyreek Hill. Remember at the end of last year, with all, and I'm sorry, because he had
Speaking
a
of, yeah,
really
dude,
bad injury
terrible. That was
yesterday.
very sad,
It
yeah.
was horrible. It just
God, that looked terrible.
Looked horrible. So I'm sorry to bring up Tyreek Hill. But remember, at the end of last year against the Dolphins, he basically said, I'm done. And it was like, oh, Pete Alonso, after the Mets get eliminated from the playoffs, yeah, I'm opting out of my contract.
That's incredible.
We'll see what happens.
That was incredible.
So
what
it
he
could,
did.
you're right, Connor. It could have been worse because A.J. Brown could have been heated, literally, because of the heat and emotional and could have.
You know what, though? He's had plenty of time to then, if he's so good with his Twitter fingers, he's had plenty of time to get on there and say, my bad, or let me clarify. So he could stop the drama anytime he wants to stop the drama, but he didn't. So I'm just saying.
All right, what else we got on the text line?
All right, we have a lot of people chiming in on this today. So we have a text here. Now, some people are going too far, so let's just get this out of the way. Bob and Dub C says, A.J. Brown is not a quote-unquote good guy and should be stripped of his captainship.
That's not true,
That's a
though.
horrible thing to say.
No, it's not true. And as far as his teammates do not think that.
By the way,
of
they
him.
voted for him to be a captain.
So that's not. But this behavior, I could understand somebody being, if this is just in a vacuum what they think of A.J. Brown, I could understand someone going, yeah, this sucks.
Yeah, this
But
does suck.
That is not.
But he does not
that is
suck as a person.
And by the way, A.J. Brown does not suck as a. Yeah, I can tell you.
No,
not
charitable
as a
person.
No.
Remember, we read the story before
No.
the season, him going and speaking with people at
I will tell
a
you-
juvenile facility.
I will tell you this. I hardly know A.J. Hardly know. I've talked with him twice, and A.J. Brown, crossing paths with me, asked me about my health.
Yes, yeah,
He does not know me. He does not know me from. He probably only knows me from socials.
Sure.
Or just seeing my face occasionally, and that's the kind of person he is. He's a kind man.
yeah.
But this is just a bad moment. Just a bad moment.
All right.
That's all it is.
Let's play the Serriani clip again. If you're just tuning in, we played in the first segment of the show. It's already been an hour. How about that? Nick Sirianni. We all knew it was coming. Maybe he
Yes.
was prepping for it, and that's why he was 49 minutes late to the press conference. Here was Nick Sirianni, the question from Tim McManus, and maybe the question caught him off guard. Maybe he's just frustrated because he has to talk about it, but you knew what was coming. Here was the Tim McManus question, followed by the Nick Sirianni answer when it comes to A.J. Brown.
Nick, I'm sure you saw the AJ post on social media where he quoted scripture and said, if you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw, don't make a scene, shrug your shoulders, and be on your way. Is it your understanding that AJ still wants to be here?
Yeah. Obviously AJ is very important to this football team. I know he wants to contribute. and do the things that he's capable of doing. But yeah, I mean, he wants to contribute into these wins, and he's had a couple games where he hasn't been able to, and for different reasons of why we haven't in these games. So, but I question nothing about his desire to play great football, his desire of being a good teammate, his desire to be here.
Yeah, I mean, it was just he didn't really know what to say.
You know what it might have been too? The question about his desire to be here.
I think that caught him off guard.
That part of it may have. That's a good job on Tim McManus's part.
Because you heard at the beginning, he said, yeah. Like, I don't think Sirianni's had a thought that A.J. Brown's not demanding a trade, right? Which we'll get to something on that later on in the show.
Correct.
Because this is what these tweets lead to, nonsense. A.J. Brown's not requesting a trade. He's not demanding to be released.
No.
And so I think maybe that caught him off guard. But when he starts talking about everything else, again, I think his brain's spinning, going, "Oh my God, I can't believe I have to talk about this. We're 4-0.
I'm dealing with this again."
Think about it. All right. And this is why I could imagine Nick Sirianni's even more frustrated with A.J. Brown because of this. Week 1, banner night, you beat your division rivals, the Dallas Cowboys. Week 2, you go to Arrowhead and you beat the Kansas City Chiefs when they had the revenge factor on their minds. Week 3, you come from behind and beat the team that had that game circled and more than anybody else, Eagles, Rams, and you beat them. And then week 4, it's the 1-4 against the Bucs. All week long, he's being asked about it, right?
Sure.
All week long. Hey, what is it about Todd Bowles? What is it about Tampa? What are you going to do to combat the heat? Oh, we're flying down a day early. All week long, it's about how they can't beat the Bucs. And then they beat the Bucs, and he's got to talk about a tweet. And that's why yesterday on the air, and we had our man Andrew DeCecco with us, and he sometimes gave some pushback. And I love Andrew, but this is why I kept on saying this is counterproductive. Because now we have to do this.
Correct.
Nobody wants this. All right. Coming up next, is there any chance this could be productive? How about that for a flip of the switch? We are nearing
Make the switch.
the 1-year anniversary of what turned the season around last year. It's kind of completely different. We'll get into that coming up next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
The Fanatic's Andrew DeCecco. The Philadelphia Inquirer's Jeff Mlan.
Yesterday against the Bucs, and this is what I think people aren't talking about enough from yesterday because everybody just wants to point the finger and say the offense sucks, Kevin Patullo sucks, all right? That is a very difficult place to win. The Eagles know that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are among the best 6 to 8 teams in the NFL, and they are a physical, and they are a good team. That is a playoff team, and that is a team that wants to go blow to blow, blow for blow with you, and they're not afraid to do that. And they very easily could have packed it in. They didn't. And they came out swinging in the second half. The Eagles' game plan and their offense in the first half yesterday, they came out, they were awesome. They had the umbrellas, the shades, or whatever they had. They were prepared because they saw what happened in previous years. And they said, we're not going to go down there and we're not going to let that happen again. Very smart by the Eagles to go down there and what they did. And you know what happened? In the second half, the Bucs made adjustments. And the Eagles, I think, were slow to adjust offensively. And it just seemed like that they were exhausted. And as the game went on, they had some injuries. They had guys that were cramping up. And give the Buccaneers credit. They made adjustments. You're playing against another team. It's not supposed to be easy for the entire game. And the Bucs made adjustments. And they came out and they really gave it to the Eagles in the second half. A couple fluky long plays, but still. So that was a really, really good win by the Eagles yesterday.
Philly fans, you are the best sports fans in the world. You're not stupid, so why should you have to hear outlandish takes that make you shake your head?
You shouldn't. That's why Unfiltered is the show for you. Each afternoon from 2 to 6, we only bring you honest opinions and analysis.
We may not agree all the time, but what you hear is what we genuinely believe. It's not some rage bait to try to spark conversation. So make the switch to Unfiltered with me, Bill Colarulo, my man Ricky Bowe, and Silvana Kelleher.
more. Every weekday at 2 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. So we're about 1 year removed, Johnny, from the moment that changed the season last year. And that moment was the bye week. It was September 29th, 2024, when the Philadelphia Eagles got bludgeoned by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Monday, September 30th, began the bye week before the Eagles then took on the Cleveland Browns in week 6 of the NFL season. And so during the bye week, if you ignored some of the people that were saying, should this be the week they fire Nick Sirianni there's 2 weeks to get ready? No, we thought about how can this team get fixed with the early bye. And I remember saying this may have come at the best time. A, because of injury. Devontae was out, AJ was out, Lane was out. There's a lot of guys that are banged up, but also they needed a reset. And it was a weird time because the first 4 weeks of the season are the continuation of preseason because people don't play in preseason. And it was almost like, wow, as much as you hate the early bye, maybe this is coming at the perfect time. Because could you imagine if it was week 8?
No, it would have been.
And maybe things continue to spiral. Who knows? But what really came out of that bye week was the story from Tim McManus of ESPN.com, and it's wonderful that he had the first question to Nick yesterday at the press conference. Tim wrote the big story of the offensive linemen, all of them, going into Nick Sirianni's office and saying, yo, guy, hi.
Hello.
We're huge behemoths of human beings, and that guy Saquon Barkley is behind us. We need to start running the football more. We're turning the ball too much. We're turning it over too much. We're throwing too much. Let's start running the ball. And we then said, after the Eagles won the Super Bowl, you can't copy-paste that, right? Like, You can't do that exact same thing because teams will try to make sure that that doesn't happen again. And you've seen it through 4 weeks so far this season. And the best this offense has looked was when they've gone away from the conservative approach and they've tried getting chunk plays downfield. That's when the offenses look best. But the point I'm trying to make is this time, last year, as you say, John, the coming to Jesus moment or Jesus moment if it's Luzardo.
That's what happened. I can tell you this. This team, I think, needs another one.
Oh, yeah.
I think they need another one. But I think it's the idea is that what they're doing isn't working. What they're doing is not working. I mean, it's not the plan and how they're executing it is not working. Now, I don't know that they need necessarily a complete change of philosophy.
No.
Because, look, they're still 7th in points scored.
Right.
But they're not.
Doesn't feel like it, but
no,
they are.
It doesn't feel like it. And so they need to change something up. And my guess is that they are going to, I think this whole week and some of the turmoil is going to add to them maybe having a little meeting. But I would wonder who's having it. And is A.J. Brown's tweet creating the moment where it creates the reflection of, okay, A.J.'s wrong with his tweet, but is A.J. wrong with his message?
And I don't think that he is.
No, we don't. None of us disagree.
We all agree the offense can't. This is not sustainable.
No,
we all agree.
What you got to do, though, is you got to be an adult and you got to be a leader and you got to not do this stuff publicly. And you're not tweeting. You're not in the 10th grade lunchroom. This isn't how you do it. But nobody disagrees with A.J. Brown's philosophy that this is stupid.
Yeah.
This looks bad. And this team right now, this looks horrendous. I mean, 2 of the worst halves, if you take 2 passing halves, I'm stealing from ESPN stats and information, 2 passing halves in 2 games. And if you take the Eagles' first half against the Rams and second half against the Bucs, and those are the 2 worst passing performances in consecutive games in 17 seasons or something, that is horrendous, and it should never be accepted.
17 seasons. Wasn't it also a total of 17 yards? Because they had 0
you should never
against the Bucs. I think it was 17 against the Rams.
It should never be acceptable. It should never be, let's be patient. Let's give Kevin Patullo his time. And there's a lot of factors to it. We talked about it yesterday.
The O-line.
The offensive line has not been good enough. Look, there's a lot of things that have to be.
Jalen had missed throws.
The coming to Jesus meeting. But what's obvious is the offensive plan is not good enough. It's not good enough. Yes, the second half game plan the other day stunk. With a 24-6 lead at halftime, the plan stunk.
Right.
It was dumb. That is not how you bleed clock. That's not how you run the ball. You kept saying it. You said it yesterday on the show a couple times. They're running the ball right into Vita Vea. It was stupid.
Like 10 straight times.
They were thinking that this is the way to do it. You have to design some other things you can do. We saw the pitch out.
Yeah.
We saw some pitch outs earlier in this season already. Yeah. We saw different things. We could see a reverse. We could see all kinds of things. Keep it away. The one guy you can't run to.
That guy's a beast. Like Vita Vea is a tremendous football player.
The one guy you can't run the ball towards is him.
Well, we saw 2 variations on the tush push that led to getting outside of Vita Vea.
Right. So
both led to touchdowns.
So in the second half, when you start the second half, why in the world can't you come up with things to say, we want to, you know what we're doing here? We're trying to bleed clock. We're trying to save our defense. That was the dumbest offensive game plan in the second half. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, and no, it's fair on the second half. It's just we're seeing glances of it. We just need to see it consistently. But there are plenty of teams in the NFL that do not see glimpses remotely of what the Eagles have already done this year. Right? Plenty of good teams that have not seen that yet this year. So, we have something here, but we just don't have enough of it. So let's accentuate what they've been doing well.
Which is why we're not disagreeing with what A.J. Brown's saying.
Fine. It's fine that we've cheerleaded plenty for this team, Connor. This is not saying you're not. This is when you have 2 of the worst passing performances in 17 seasons.
Yeah,
it's not to be glossed over. It's not to say, well, let's concentrate on what they're doing great. No.
Okay, don't make me sound like that because that's not what I'm saying.
No, but that is you can't just concentrate on what they're doing great. I already said earlier in the show, I went back yesterday and looked at the 11 for 11 in the red zone. And I said, I don't remember Andy Reid. Now, maybe he did. I don't remember Andy Reid being 11 for 11 in the red zone.
They've been great in the red zone.
That's amazing. And I think
they got to get to the red zone.
But when you come out with a play design in the second half, a game plan in the second half, and you can't bleed clock, and your first 3 possessions take up 5 minutes of possession time, and you got a 24-6 lead, it's horrendous.
So
horrendous.
Speaking of the second half and the game plan, coming up next. You'll hear from Nick Sirianni, not on A.J. Brown, all right? Something different.
That's nice.
He's got a go-to word this year, and I'm starting to hate it. The core meaning of the word I like, but his usage is not accurate, and it highlights the struggles of this offense, and it's something we got into a little bit yesterday about how they're being overly conservative. I'm going to play you this clip, and I'll highlight the word that Serriani's been highlighting all season here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
More adjustments for the Eagles. I'm Connor Thomas, and NFL Week 4 is officially wrapped, and the Eagles are one of 2 remaining unbeaten teams as we head into Week 5. Through the first month, Birds' record may be perfect, but their play on the field has not necessarily been perfect, and Nick Sirianni met with media yesterday to talk about the second half struggles in Tampa Bay.
We were really successful in the first half and wasn't as successful in the second half. We had some plays that moved backwards, which again was kind of some of the things that happened in the previous game. So again, need to be explosive, need to protect the football, and need to be efficient.
So So still adjustments needed. The Birds will look to put it all together in Week 5 as they take on the Broncos at the Link. A 1 o'clock game this Sunday. Denver moved to 2-2 last night with a 28-3 win over the Bengals. The Phillies are continuing preparations for their NLDS series. They'll have a team workout today at 1 p.m. Tomorrow they'll have an inter-squad scrimmage open to fans. Game 1s of Wild Card Series begin today in baseball, including Reds-Dodgers, 9 p.m. first pitch tonight out in L.A. Phils play the winner of that series. We'll talk to Jeff Mlan at the Inquirer coming up at 8:25. Amy Fadul will join the guys for the entire 9 o'clock hour. This update is brought to you by, Red October, baby. Join Andrew, myself, and the Fanatic crew Saturday, October 4th at Patty Wax South Street for a Corona Phillies watch party. $5 Coronas and Modelo's giveaways, Red October tees, and your shot at 2026 Phillies tickets. Details at 975thefanatic.com. Drink responsibly. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
The Philadelphia.
Yesterday against the Bucs, and this is what I think people aren't talking about enough from yesterday because everybody just wants to point the finger and say the offense sucks, Kevin Patullo sucks, all right? That is a very difficult place to win. The Eagles know that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are among the best 6 to 8 teams in the NFL, and they are a physical, and they are a good team. That is a playoff team. And that is a team that wants to go blow to blow, blow for blow with you. And they're not afraid to do that. And they very easily could have packed it in. They didn't. And they came out swinging in the second half. The Eagles' game plan and their offense in the first half yesterday, they came out, they were awesome. They had the umbrellas, the shades, or whatever they had. They were prepared because they saw what happened in previous years. And they said, we're not going to go down there and we're not going to let that happen again. Very smart by the Eagles to go down there and what they did. And you know what happened? In the second half, the Bucs made adjustments, and the Eagles, I think, were slow to adjust offensively, and it just seemed like that they were exhausted. And as the game went on, they had some injuries. They had guys that were cramping up. And give the Buccaneers credit. They made adjustments. You're playing against another team. It's not supposed to be easy for the entire game. And the Bucs made adjustments. And they came out, and they really gave it to the Eagles in the second half. A couple fluky long plays, but still. So that was a really, really good win by the Eagles yesterday.
Philly fans, you are the best sports fans in the world. You're not stupid, so why should you have to hear outlandish takes that make you shake your head?
You shouldn't. That's why Unfiltered is the show for you. Each afternoon from 2 to 6, we only bring you honest opinions and analysis.
We may not agree all the time, but what you hear is what we genuinely believe. It's not some rage bait to try to spark conversation. So make the switch to Unfiltered with me, Bill Colarulo, my man Ricky Bo, and Silvana Kelleher.
Every weekday at 2 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
yesterday against the Bucs, and this is what I think people aren't talking about enough from yesterday because everybody just wants to point the finger and say the offense sucks.
Send our calls here momentarily. A YouTube comment from Renee. Renee's one of my favorites because Renee loves the Eagles, like die-hard Eagles fan.
And she's got a beautiful name.
Complains anytime we talk Phillies, Sixers, or Flyers, right? It's just, come on, Eagles talk. Renee chimes in. I'm curious, what could Nick have said to satisfy you, Andrew and John? Should he have called him out? What would that have been enough? Shaking my head. She's Team Connor today.
How about
the voice of reason?
Smart side.
How about Renee? How about I'm going to let A.J. Brown answer this for himself. A.J. and we would say all of our players have an opportunity to speak to the media and to share their thoughts. So A.J. can answer that question for himself. I'm not going to answer a question for A.J. Brown. But we're all happy to be 4-0. We're all happy to be the defending world champions. And we all want to be on the same page that winning is what matters here with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Man.
I think it's really simple.
Politician, John.
I think that's extremely simple. I'm not going to answer a question about A.J. Brown. A.J. can speak for himself. We found him to be a really good teammate and a grown man. He can speak for himself. So when A.J. has a chance to speak, you can ask him. But we're very happy to be 4-0, the defending world champions. And so I'm not answering any question about A.J. Brown.
Connor, how would you feel if that was the answer?
I would hate that answer.
Why?
Because it feels like you're alienating one of the captains on your team by not covering for him. And Nick Sirianni has been a guy that's covered for guys.
No, but you're saying he's a good teammate and everything like that, but he can answer his own questions. You're saying you preface it with A.J. Brown's a good teammate and he'll answer questions for himself, but I'm not answering. A.J. said something. I'm not answering for him.
Yeah,
I'm not going to speak for him.
That's not the guy Nick Sirianni's been. Nick Sirianni speaks for everybody. He covers for his players even when they don't deserve it. That's the guy.
But he didn't cover for him yesterday.
Well, I mean, he did.
No, he didn't. He said he wants to contribute, and we
He said he
haven't been able to do that.
Wants to contribute. He
There's
wants to contribute. He
reasons.
wants to contribute. He mumbled all over himself. He didn't have an answer because I don't think he'd spoke to AJ.
Well, your answer would not determine whether
I'm going to say it again. I do think he was caught off guard by the question.
I think Tim McManus may have given him a curveball with the does he still want to be here?
I stand by it. So, Renee, I made that kind of clear.
Yes.
I think he was caught off guard by the question. That's why he kind of was stumbling through it. But you knew that something A.J. Brown related was coming.
And I would tell you that the majority of NFL coaches, not all of them, the majority, would not answer the question for the player. If a player tweeted something, they would tell you to go to the player. The majority of them would say, look, they wouldn't throw the player under the bus.
And look,
again, you don't have
and
to.
I'm not asking him to be like,
right. I'm not asking him to trash
we're
A.J.
going to
Brown.
make AJ delete Twitter.
No,
we're not.
No, don't do that. Just say,
no one said
look,
that.
AJ Brown's one of our leaders. He's team leader. He's a good man. He said he can speak for himself. He's a grown man. I'm not going to speak for him.
Now there is something I need Nick Sirianni to stop. I need him to stop.
What?
I'm starting to hate a word because of him. So here was Nick Sirianni yesterday because he was asked about football at one point during the press conference.
That was nice.
They actually talked football. And one of the questions, I thought was a very fair question, was, hey, what are teams doing to limit Jalen Hurts at times? I mean, at times. The first half against the Rams where they completed, I think it was 17 total yards, and I think it was net yards of like -2.
Correct.
And 0 completions in the second half against the Bucs. So, as I pointed out to you guys yesterday, I do believe Jalen Hurts deserves some of the criticism for how that offense went in the second half. Not all, but not one player or person should get all of it. Patullo shouldn't get all of it.
No, the offensive line
shouldn't get all of it.
No, but we both yesterday said the offensive line maybe gets the.
Yeah, they bad
really have
performance
not
on
been
Sunday.
as good. They have not been as good.
Here was Nick Sirianni talking about adjustments that teams are making to limit Hurts, but he doesn't kind of answer the question. He kind of does, but he uses a word over and over again that I'm starting to get bothered by.
I think he's been, again, really efficient. If you look at it, he's in the top 10 at completion percentage. He's in the top 10 of quarterback ratings and top 10 of QBR. All those things show how efficient that he's been. Obviously, when you're that efficient and you're good on offense, you're going to see different things from different teams. Sometimes it's they did this, like one team did this, the other team did this, just to try to slow us down. But I've just seen that consistency, efficient play, and as far as what one half looked like and what another half looked like, we got to coach more consistent. We got to play more consistent across the board. So we put together a full game. I look at our first 4 games this year, very similar to what our first 4 games were last year. We've obviously played a very hard September schedule. Coming out of September last year, good opportunity for us to sit and say, hey, what do we do good? What are we, not doing so good? And try to figure that out and get better from it and get better every day. Well, it's the same thing here. It's just we have a different record right now. And so we have to have that same hunger, same humbleness that we had last year, this year. A lot of things to clean up at every position, offensively, defensively, special teams. And that's what today was about. Was yesterday we enjoyed it. Today, back to work, telling each other the truth in attempts to get better.
What do you think's the word, Connor?
I would guess efficient.
I'm guessing efficiency might be the word.
So it's bothering me. And let me use my life as an example. All right? I got here to work today.
Efficiently?
Some of you may be upset about that I'm here on the air. I don't know. Some of you like me, some of you don't. I don't really give a damn. I'm just here to do my job. I got here on time, right? 5 o'clock. I could have gotten here at 5:30.
You could have.
Would it have been efficient if I said, all right, I got in my car, left the house a little late. You know what? Forgot to get gas yesterday, so I had to stop to get gas. You know what? Before I start going, I want to go get some coffee. And then I'm going to just pull over and look at Lincoln Financial Field because it's beautiful. I just want to stare at it. And then, you know what? Instead of taking 76, I'm going to take the back roads, baby, because I just want to mix it up a little bit. I got to work. I did not get pulled over. I did not cause any accidents. Is that efficiency? Or did I just get here? It's not efficient. It was efficient in week 2 because that's what the game plan called for, right? I'm bringing it back to sports now. It was efficient in week 2 to get the ball out quick. Don't turn the ball over. This is going to be a tight game. And it was. That Chiefs game was tight. Just winning is not necessarily meaning you're playing efficiently. Having 0 completions in an entire half of football is not efficient. Having very little completions and 17 total yards in the first half of a game against the Rams is not efficient. So if we're just saying efficiency is not turning the football over, that's one thing. But just not turning the football over is not an efficient brand of football. I said this yesterday to you guys. It's great that the Eagles won the turnover battle. It's part of the reason why they won. But just because you intercepted a pass and then you gave the ball back 4 plays later because you went 3 and out is not an efficient offense. Efficient is not the correct word, and I'm not going to sit here on the definition of the word.
But I think efficient.
But him saying efficient it's not true. And it's like if you're saying this offense is good because it's efficient, then I hate it.
I think an efficient offense moves the chains.
Conservative is the word that he should be using, but he doesn't want to say that because no team wants to sit there and go, yeah, we're just trying to play a conservative brand of football. Nobody wants to say that.
Now, I'm not saying it's a efficient offense moves the chains. An efficient offense would be consistently moving the chains.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean we put a ton of points on the board, but they move the chains. They time of possession
Clock's
matters
ticking,
and things
defense
like that.
is getting a breather when
Yes.
it's 100 billion degrees outside. So again, I got to work today, and I was here on time. But if tomorrow I got here at 5:30 because I did 5 different things than I normally would, and there was detours because of my own doing, not because everybody else is doing, that's not efficient.
Yeah, I think efficiency is Nick Sirianni's crutch word because he doesn't want to say safe.
Right.
And
That's
safe,
an interesting word.
safe is what it is, right? But they don't want to call it that.
But it's not good. Like, safe is not necessarily good in the NFL.
Nobody's happy with safe.
Like, you played the second half safe, and you almost lost.
Yeah,
You
totally
played the
agree.
first half against the Rams safe. You were down 3 scores
So
going
wait a
into
minute, too.
halftime.
So again, as I'm thinking about this, is you've got arguably the best collection of, when you're talking about offensive line, wide receivers, running back, quarterback, you got as good as anybody has. Nobody's got it better than you do.
Sure. Efficient's not good enough.
And you're saying efficient or you're saying safe? That's not good.
Yeah, no, it's not.
That's
now,
not
look,
good.
not turning the football over is a win. I need that to be clear. Before anybody takes it the wrong way. Like, I need that to be clear. But, all right, 3 handoffs right into Vita Vea's belly.
Is dumb.
That's not efficient.
No, it's dumb. What it is.
So, I get it, Nick. And look, he's trying to stick up for his guy. He's trying to stick up for his players. He's trying to stick up for the fact that they are 4-0. But have they been an efficient offense?
No.
No, they haven't. They've had great quarters and halves, but they've not put together 60 minutes of football. And that word or that mindset, and DeCecco even said it. DeCecco believes that they're too conservative at times to the point where it limits what they do. You can't limit yourself. You can't put your own team in a box, especially when the opposing team's defense is trying to keep you in a box. Don't allow that to happen. All right, we'll get to calls and texts coming up next. Also, we barely talked about the defense yesterday, and we haven't talked about the defense like at all today. Pass rush was non-existent. We know why. Nolan Smith's not there. Is there an answer in-house? It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Kincade and Salciunas, 6 to 10 a.m. Middays with Marks, 10
Yesterday against the Bucs, and this is what I think people aren't talking about enough from yesterday because everybody just wants to point the finger and say the offense sucks, Kevin Patullo sucks, all right? That is a very difficult place to win. The Eagles know that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are among the best 6 to 8 teams in the NFL, and they are a physical, and they are a good team. That is a playoff team, and that is a team that wants to go blow to blow, blow for blow with you, and they're not afraid to do that. And they very easily could have packed it in. They didn't. And they came out swinging in the second half. The Eagles' game plan and their offense in the first half yesterday, they came out, they were awesome. They had the umbrellas, the shades, or whatever they had. They were prepared because they saw what happened in previous years. And they said, we're not going to go down there, and we're not going to let that happen again. Very smart by the Eagles to go down there and what they did. And you know what happened? In the second half, the Bucs made adjustments. And the Eagles, I think, were slow to adjust offensively. And it just seemed like that they were exhausted. And as the game went on, they had some injuries. They had guys that were cramping up. And give the Buccaneers credit. They made adjustments. You're playing against another team. It's not supposed to be easy for the entire game. And the Bucs made adjustments. And they came out, and they really gave it to the Eagles in the second half. A couple fluky long plays, but still. So that was a really, really good win by the Eagles yesterday.
Philly fans, you are the best sports fans in the world. You're not stupid, so why should you have to hear outlandish takes that make you shake your head?
You shouldn't. That's why Unfiltered is the show for you. Each afternoon from 2 to 6, we only bring you honest opinions and analysis.
We may not agree all the time, but what you hear is what we genuinely believe. It's not some rage bait to try to spark conversation. So make the switch to Unfiltered with me, Bill Colarulo, my man Ricky Bo, and Silvana Kelleher.
Every weekday at 2 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
97.5 The Fanatic. Big pause on a pup. One of our YouTube comments.
Big pause on a pup.
John and Andrew going to sleep crying and punching their pillows after every Eagles win is becoming hilarious.
What? I'm the one who told you 4-0, dude. You cannot. Again, the Q-tips are available to you. I'm the one who told you 4-0. So it's all I can tell you.
Again, I'll just ask you. Do you think this brand of football is sustainable? Which
Correct.
A.J. Brown himself asked that question after week 2. We all agreed with it. The
Correct.
players, Jalen Hurts, said it after the game week 3. We got to stop playing not to lose, as did Jordan Mailata, as did Saquon Barkley, as did A.J. Brown again. Unfortunately, it was after week 4 when we had very similar questions. It then led to the tweet from A.J. Brown. All right?
Not really hard. Not really hard to understand.
It's all right. Like,
But it's not hard to understand.
no, but I appreciate him listening, and if that makes fans feel better, I'm here for it. I'm a punching bag. I'm a human. Like, Coop literally beats the crap out of me, man. I'm a
there's
human punching
enough.
bag. Bring it.
There's enough to punch us about that you can at least get the stuff that's worth punching about. That's not it. Because look, I spent the entire month of August and even some of September trying to talk people off of ledges that were like, ooh, afraid to believe that this team is the greatest team in the NFL.
Yeah.
That they're 4-0 was more likely than 2-2. This team is good. They're the best. Believe it.
All
But
right.
they've got stuff to work on, as Nick Serriani told you.
We'll get back to some calls because I know people want to chime in here, but I honestly forgot it was that time of the year. Nakobe Dean might be back. John.
No, he's back. He could be. Let's hope he is. And he's got the option to come back into here. And I wonder, and I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah, it's a fair thought.
Does that potentially help the edge position? Because you know that there's a really creative guy in Vic Fangio who can find ways to use guys in creative fashion. And this is one that by Thursday, I know that, that our man Andrew Tcheka will have already deep dove on this himself. Is there a way that Campbell could become more of an edge? Or is he not built for that? Physically built for that? Or deployed in a way that you can sort of use him in sort of a hybrid-ish edge sort of way? I don't know. I'm not smart enough to design a
Vic
defense.
Fangio has said himself during camp that we could do this at times. There could be a time where Jahad Campbell is an edge rusher for this team. I wouldn't do it.
Why would you not do it? Explain it to me.
Linebackers been like the least of my worries with this football team right now. We've talked about pass rush. We've talked about secondary. We've talked about a lot of things. Linebacking play has been like the least of my worries. So I'm not. It's the old you're impacting two positions conversation. Now look, you need edge rusher help. You do, especially with Nolan Smith not coming back till after the bye week. But I'm not all of a sudden moving Jahad Campbell up. I would feel uncomfortable. I know that Nakobe Dean can play well, but Nakobe Dean, the passing, pass coverage has been a problem of his over his career, even though he had the big interception against the Jags. But I don't know, man. Jahad Campbell, I just don't want to move off of that. That's why.
Connor?
I couldn't be more with Andrew here. Like, I'm not changing that.
Okay, so you're going to put you're going to keep Nakobe on the sideline?
No, you're going to rotate him in at points, and maybe it keeps those linebackers fresh. We know first year in the NFL, the rookie wall is going to come at some point for Jahad Campbell. Maybe it balances that out. Like, I think there's places where Nakobe Dean can be productive, but it may be good for all these guys because Nakobe can't stay on the field. So less time for him may be good too. It's a good thing, and to me, that doesn't say move a guy out of that position. It just says start a rotation with those three guys.
Yeah. I know where you're coming from. I don't think you're crazy.
I'm going to go by this. I don't see him being a guy. How many snaps did Campbell play on Sunday?
70 of 72. He might be on the field.
And Baun?
Every snap.
I don't see, and I'm just going by the history of studying what Vic Fangio does. Vic Fangio doesn't tend to be, when he's got two guys like that, he doesn't tend to be a rotate guy. So to me, I'm wondering, you have a resource that, by the way, last year was arguably, he was every bit as, I think he was almost every bit as good as Zach Baun last year, as far as just That was just unbelievable. It's so wild to see.
He had a hell of a season.
It's
a
so
shame he got
wild
hurt
to
again.
see a linebacker play becoming a strength for the
I know.
Eagles like this.
Look,
it's such an embarrassment of riches.
When's the last time we actually had this question?
But I mean,
could you use another linebacker?
Well, right now to see a absolute disappointment right now, the edge rusher position is not good.
That's why it was my bigger concern than second corner.
It's bad.
It just was.
I mean, it's really bad.
You have
right
a good
now.
pass rush. There's a little less pressure on guys like Adoree Jackson or Keely Ringo or Jacorian Bennett.
Yeah, and we could get to that Jahad Campbell point. I just don't think we're there right now. Like, if we're sitting here in week 7 getting ready to play the Vikings and you still haven't gotten pressure and Nakobe Dean's look good and you've done some rotation stuff and you're like, we can get away with it, sure. But right off the rip, first time Nakobe's available, just counting on him to be a starting linebacker, I don't know if we're there yet.
Okay.
Right. Let's get to some calls because I know more people want to talk about this A.J. Brown stuff. Let's go to Howard in Douglasville first. Howard.
What's up, Howard?
man? You're on Kincade Salciunas.
Where is Douglasville, Howard?
It's out in Berks County.
Okay. I didn't know the town. That's great.
It's on 422 between Pottstown and Reading.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it.
All right, A.J. Brown. Who cares? Next up, Eagles. John, I agree with you. They're 4-0. We could be Green Bay, the greatest team after week 1. Look at them right now. We could be the Ravens. Look at them right now. Who would you rather be, the Ravens, Green Bay, or Philadelphia?
Philadelphia, Howard.
Yes. Do we have problems? Sure. But we're already at week 4. If this is week 9, then we can readdress it. Also, we got
so let me ask you. We're gonna get to baseball. Don't you worry. So I'm just looking at our when you call in and they put the comments on the screen of what you want to talk about. It says if you ignore AJ's comments, it will go away. Is that truly what you feel?
Yes.
How do you think AJ Brown? How do you think AJ Brown would feel if he was ignored?
I don't think he cares one way or the other.
That's ridiculous. He cares too much. That's why he tweeted it.
Yeah, well, you know what? But if you keep on picking at the scab, it's never going to go away.
All right, forget football for a second. Howard, what do you do? What do you do for a living, Howard?
I'm a real estate appraiser.
All right, well, let's say you're doing your job and you keep on telling your boss something. Hey, we're doing this wrong. We're doing this wrong. We're doing this wrong. And your boss just goes, all right, Howard, I don't care anymore. Wouldn't that make you feel a certain type of way?
Yeah, well, I don't have to worry about that because I'm my own boss.
There you go. Good job,
we
buddy.
appreciate the call, brother.
That's good,
I'm my
man.
own boss. I don't need to worry about that. But seriously, like, if Connor kept on telling John and I, like, hey, I'm tired of being the voice of reason. I need you guys to step up your game a little bit, and we just ignored you, wouldn't you feel a certain type of way?
I think Howard's point is more outside the Eagles than inside. I don't think he's saying Nick Sirianni ignore him. I think he's saying everybody else ignore him.
All right, so if we ignore it, then,
I promise you this.
We'll just talk about the Eagles being 4-0.
Inside that building, they're not ignoring it.
Yeah.
And there are guys in that locker room who aren't ignoring it. And coaches are not ignoring it.
And that's why I'll go back to one of our YouTube comments earlier, like, oh, man, are we really going to talk about this? Sorry, it is our jobs. And it's what we're going to talk about.
And they're talking about it.
It's what we're going to talk about. So this isn't something where we just go, I'll let them handle it. We're not solving any problems here. We're reacting. And there's a lot to react to. Speaking of which, coming up at 8:25, our man Jeff Mlan will join us for his Tuesday hit. You're going to get the appetizer because every good meal comes with a good appetizer. Clips from his most recent podcast that give some insight on A.J. Brown, how he was post-game, and what could be going on. You'll hear those next. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Still some changes needed. I'm Connor Thomas, and NFL Week 4 has officially wrapped up. The Eagles are one of 2 remaining unbeaten teams as we head into Week 5. And through the first month of the NFL season, the Birds' record is perfect. But there have been plenty of questions about production on the field and the changes needed to make that work. Nick Sirianni talked about it yesterday in his first press conference after the win in Tampa.
We were really successful in the first half and wasn't as successful in the second half. We had some plays that moved move backwards, which again was kind of some of the things that happened in the previous game. So again, need to be explosive, need to protect the football, and need to be efficient.
Of course, that's his first full press conference. He talked after the game, but clearly still some changes needed, and the Birds will look to put it all together as they take on the Broncos at the Link in Week 5. Denver moved to 2-2 last night with a 28-3 win over the Bengals. Phils are continuing preparations for the NLDS. They'll have a team workout today at 1 p.m. and tomorrow an inter-squad scrimmage open to fans, as some of you will get a chance to go watch. Game 1s of Wildcard Series begin today in baseball, including Reds-Dodgers, 9 p.m. tonight. Phillies will play the winner of that series, so we'll keep an eye on that closely. Jeff Mlan of the Inquirer joins us at 8:25. Amy Fadul joins the guys for the entire 9 o'clock hour. This update's brought to you by ParkWiz. Parking shouldn't slow you down. ParkWiz gives every driver a shortcut. Book ahead, save up to 50%, and skip the hassle of circling the block. Park smarter, park faster, ParkWiz. Download the ParkWiz app and save when you park. I'm Connor Thomas on your own for the best Birds coverage. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
The Eagles are flying with one goal in mind. Win a...
Yesterday against the Bucs, and this is what I think people aren't talking about enough from yesterday, because everybody just wants to point the finger and say the offense sucks, Kevin Patullo sucks, all right? That is a very difficult place to win. The Eagles know that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are among the best 6 to 8 teams in the NFL, and they are a physical, and they are a good team. That is a playoff team, and that is a team that wants to go blow to blow, blow for blow with you. And they're not afraid to do that. And they very easily could have packed it in. They didn't. And they came out swinging in the second half. The Eagles' game plan and their offense in the first half yesterday, they came out, they were awesome. They had the umbrellas, the shades, or whatever they had. They were prepared because they saw what happened in previous years. And they said, we're not going to go down there, and we're not going to let that happen again. Very smart by the Eagles to go down there in what they did. And you know what happened? In the second half, the Bucs made adjustments, and the Eagles, I think, were slow to adjust offensively, and it just seemed like that they were exhausted. And as the game went on, they had some injuries. They had guys that were cramping up. And give the Buccaneers credit. They made adjustments. You're playing against another team. It's not supposed to be easy for the entire game. And the Bucs made adjustments. And they came out, and they really gave it to the Eagles in the second half. A couple fluky long plays, but still. So that was a really, really good win by the Eagles yesterday.
Philly fans, you are the best sports fans in the world. You're not stupid, so why should you have to hear outlandish takes that make you shake your head?
You shouldn't. That's why Unfiltered is the show for you. Each afternoon from 2 to 6, we only bring you honest opinions and analysis.
We may not agree all the time, but what you hear is what we genuinely believe. It's not some rage bait to try to spark conversation. So make the switch to Unfiltered with me, Bill Colarulo, my man Ricky Bo, and Silvana Kelleher.
Every weekday at 2 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
yesterday against the Bucs, and this is what I think people aren't talking about enough from yesterday because everybody just wants to point the finger and say the offense sucks, Kevin Patullo sucks, all right? That is a very difficult place to win. The Eagles know that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are among the best 6 to 8 teams in the NFL, and they are a physical, and they are a good team. That is a playoff team, and that is a team that wants to go blow to blow, blow for blow with you, and they're not afraid to do that. And they very easily could have packed it in. They didn't. And they came.
See, we were in flight, but I checked some of the clips that were posted from the YouTube feed to our social media accounts yesterday. So it was good to see Johnny Marks back, and then today we get to actually see him in person because yesterday you and I were flying back.
We did.
Great flight, by the way. Great flight. It's wonderful.
Very talkative flight.
There's nothing wrong with that. I fell asleep. I never fall asleep on planes. I fell asleep unless
you were awake for a lot of it.
No.
You and Tank were having quite the chat.
Well, we had to talk about the Eagles.
Well, it's always good. I mean, talking with Hollis Thomas is always a fun time, but
Yeah.
I mean, it was chatty Cathy time on that plane.
Well, you're welcome. I was doing stuff for the show.
I appreciate it.
He didn't like
Connor.
He didn't like the offense in the second half.
I woke up to the Chunas and Tank chat.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Talking
It was
about a former professional athlete, former Eagle,
and then the
who
people
did not
in your aisle.
who did not love the way that the Eagles played in the second half.
No, then the people in your aisle. Before we took off, you guys were like chatty Cathy.
Pre-takeoff conversations, nothing.
You guys were like the
What's
chatty.
wrong with the pre-takeoff conversation?
You
Getting to
guys
know
were-
thy neighbor.
You guys were the chatty
I got no
Cathy.
issue with that.
Like John Kincade, Mr. I don't talk on flights. Well, finally. It's the one thing you don't do.
You were like the chatty Cathys of all chatty Cathys on that flight.
They were my friends. I met them. I hung out with them at Philly Sports Trips. We shared plenty of beverages.
What were their
All
names?
Right. Donna.
There you go. Donna was trouble.
Yeah,
She was fun.
I know she was.
The good kind
and
of
she
trouble.
ended up sitting next to me on the flight.
She was awesome.
Oh, man. All right, you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. What was her name? I know it. See, you see how he tries
Donna
to do
was
that?
good there.
All right.
I'm not getting in the middle of your flight fight. All right.
No, they were. They were chatty.
I was just minding my own damn business, but somebody else wasn't. Jeff McLean is going to be joining us coming up at 8:25.
That'll be good.
And I'm very excited to talk to Jeff because Jeff has some insight on what went down, obviously, after the game. And unfortunately, again, we can't just talk to him about the game. We got to talk to him about what happened after the game. So, Jeff McLean, here's your appetizer for what is to come at 8:25. He's got his incredible podcast, Uncovering the Birds. You got to check it out. It's very well done. He's got a lot of information in there. And clearly, Jeff McLean, even though a lot of you go, oh, man, he hates the team, he does his job, and he's got a lot of great connections within that organization where he gets a lot of great information. So Jeff McLean, first and foremost, reacting to the tweet by A.J. Brown, obviously the comments earlier this season talking about how this offense it's fair to question if it's sustainable, but the tweet is what sort of set this all going down this spiral. Here is Jeff McLean on his podcast, Uncovering the Birds, talking about the tweet from A.J. Brown.
I'm not suggesting that AJ's not going to be here this year. They need him. They need him desperately, probably more now than ever. But when he's clearly now expressed his unhappiness with the way things are going offensively, I don't think he's a diva. Certainly there's diva-esque qualities to a lot of top receivers. He wants the ball. He wants to impact the game. AJ is a captain. I know he does a lot of stuff behind the scenes to help players on both sides of the ball. I think he wants ultimately what's best for the team. And last year he was proven correct. They needed the pass offense, and they got it in the NFC Championship game and, of course, in the Super Bowl. But it's a different team. Defenses are playing them different.
And so it's just, hey, this is what AJ's feeling. Now, again, as we have all said on the show, because sometimes people just don't understand what we say. Sometimes, I think we make it pretty clear, we have no problem with AJ Brown saying, hey, this needs to get better. That needs to get better. Last year after the Panthers game, nobody had a problem with what AJ Brown said. It was what happened later that Monday night when Brandon Graham was on a radio show talking about the potential beef between coach and quarterback and wide receiver. And then this past game, nobody cared that A.J. Brown was upset with the offense. Like, nobody said, wow, stop doing that. It's just the way he goes about it. It's the tweet. It's the cryptic messaging, and then it has to lead to all these conversations. One more clip for you. And again, this is the appetizers. Jeff McLean joins us at 8:25. He wonders maybe where the message was directed to. Here's Jeff McLean on that.
Other times, maybe I think he's looked a little disinterested in some of the routes he's run, which he shouldn't be doing. He should be running all of them for the love of the game. But I do think that it's quite possibly Jalen Hurts who his tweet was directed at. I think the whole kind of like best friends thing has been overplayed. And maybe at one point they were close, and just now that they play together, it's not as close. It's, it happens. Hey, I mean, they're kind of like bros too. I think there's definitely brotherly love and hate involved there as well.
So, is there something with the Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown thing? Who knows? Look, clearly Brandon Graham says it last year.
Sure. The only thing it was is that they spend a ton of time in each other's orbits. And even yesterday, hearing from somebody very close to it, that they spend a ton of time in each other's orbit. So if you're spending time together, like eating together or being around each other, don't you think that you wouldn't have to tweet? You actually talk. Doesn't that mean what do you think? That they wouldn't be talking when they're sitting at a lunch table together?
Sure.
Or they're grabbing time. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that.
Well, and then this goes back to what I said.
I do buy, though, that two people who love each other can absolutely have
moments,
about how things are done or how things. So I'm not questioning Jeff on that at all.
But this goes back to my question that I had for everybody a couple weeks ago, and I brought it up again today. Maybe A.J. Brown doesn't feel the same way that Jalen Hurts feels, where it's just you look at the scoreboard when the clock hits 0, we won, job's done. There are some players that may say, yeah, we won the game, but this is what we need to do. And I think Jalen Hurts realizes that clearly when he speaks with Pam Oliver after the game against the Rams. Hey, we got to stop playing not to lose. But maybe A.J. Brown isn't as just like, hey, we won. We got the job done. Maybe A.J. Brown says, look, we need to do this, this, and that to win, continue to win and win big picture stuff.
But remember, though, A.J. Brown's, his tweet, his messaging is about me, not about team. Jalen's message is about team. Jalen Carter's message is about team. AJ's message is about me. That's a big difference.
Well, so position is important here too, right? And Jalen Hurts, first and foremost, should not necessarily be the bar for team focus. He is a cyborg.
Yeah,
he is not a normal person. So expecting a normal person to be Jalen Hurts maybe isn't fair. But also, Jalen Hurts is touching the ball every single play. There is no avoidance of the quarterback having the impact on the game. So it may be easier for Jalen knowing that every snap that ball is in his hands versus A.J. Brown, who gets a certain number of targets a game, saying, okay, my impact is being felt versus not.
9 targets, though, is not terrible.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
That's
two catches on 9 targets.
That's not terrible. Now, some of the throws were horrendous.
Yeah, they were horrendous. They were bad throws.
I mean, there were some bad ones, but I don't think 9 targets is, man, we're not getting you involved. Now, were some bad throws made? Sure, but that's not also maybe the 9 target game. Maybe isn't the game to be banging the drum about, how you're being targeted or not getting
unless
enough.
he doesn't like his route tree. And
I saw that, and I told you.
Yeah,
I watched that route tree, and it's horrendous. It's horrendous. It's like, I swear to you, it looks like a high school route tree.
Or predictable, which is something that you never want to hear. Let's go to Leonard in Philly. Leonard, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, good morning, guys.
What's up,
Hi,
dude?
Leonard. How are you, buddy?
So, hey, doing well. I agree that A.J. Brown, he probably should have handled it a little bit differently. But I think not the bigger story, but once again, for the second time, from last year into this year, you have an offensive lineman coming out, not calling out Petula, but he's he's not satisfied with the way the play calling has gone. So I just think that Super Bowl champions, you 2 years in a row, someone on your offensive line saying that you have to kind of consider, our strengths and change the way the game plan is called. Did you notice what my ladder said? I think it was yesterday.
I saw it. Yes, I saw it. Yes, it was on his show. He talked about needing to get to the line quicker. And
because the play.
And to me, this is what we talked about a lot during the offseason. Kevin Patullo, 18 years in the NFL. Nobody's saying he does not know football. But I always say when it comes to Brian Johnson, when it comes to Kevin Patullo, when it comes to any first-time offensive coordinator at the NFL level, because Brian Johnson was one in college, it's great that you know football. Do you know what to call on 3rd and 3 when your offense has gotten nothing going and your defense is gassed? And wow, it's exactly how it played out this past weekend against the Bucs. And if it's taking too long to get to the line of scrimmage, that could then lead to some issues as well. To your point,
you've got 15
Leonard.
seconds in your headset
Yeah.
that you have to get it in. And more importantly, this is exactly why all summer long this was my number one obsession storyline. Number one.
Yeah, you
Kevin
have
Patullo.
other, you have other players, former players, even calling it out, saying, "Listen, I know." Defensive players saying they're predictable. I know. You have Jason Avant talking about certain play calling and just the maybe even the effort that A.J. Brown is given. But I think it's multifactorial. But play calling and scheming and putting our guys in the best position, I think it's up there.
Yeah,
There you go, buddy.
look, it's a
Thank
big
you,
part
buddy.
of it. Thanks, Leonard. And I don't blame Jordan Mailata, but here's the deal. Like, Jordan Mailata, he just said it, right? Not a cryptic message.
No, he's a grown man and he speaks.
He just said it. And A.J. Brown did say it a couple weeks ago, and nobody had a problem with it.
Correct.
The problem is how he went about it this time around. All right, don't forget, Jeff McLean. He'll join us at 8:25. We'll get some more insight
By the way,
on what he's hearing.
Listen in on that.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Those clips that we just played for you were great. Can't wait to hear from him coming up at 8:25. Coming up next, second opinion segment, because we didn't really get to spend too much time on the actual game. We did talk about a tweet. We'll get into that coming up next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Attention, Delaware Valley. 90-
Yesterday against the Bucs, and this is what I think people aren't talking about enough from yesterday, because everybody just wants to point the finger and say the offense sucks, Kevin Patullo sucks. All right, that is a very difficult place to win. The Eagles know that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are among the best 6 to 8 teams in the NFL, and they are a physical and they are a good team. That is a playoff team. And that is a team that wants to go blow to blow, blow for blow with you. And they're not afraid to do that. And they very easily could have packed it in. They didn't. And they came out swinging in the second half. The Eagles' game plan and their offense in the first half yesterday, they came out, they were awesome. They had the umbrellas, the shades, or whatever they had. They were prepared because they saw what happened in previous years. And they said, we're not going to go down there, and we're not going to let that happen again. Very smart by the Eagles to go down there and what they did. And you know what happened? In the second half, the Bucs made adjustments, and the Eagles, I think, were slow to adjust offensively, and it just seemed like that they were exhausted. And as the game went on, they had some injuries. They had guys that were cramping up. And give the Buccaneers credit. They made adjustments. You're playing against another team. It's not supposed to be easy for the entire game. And the Bucs made adjustments. And they came out, and they really gave it to the Eagles in the second half. A couple fluky long plays, but still. So that was a really, really good win by the Eagles yesterday.
Philly fans, you are the best sports fans in the world. You're not stupid, so why should you have to hear outlandish takes that make you shake your head?
You shouldn't. That's why Unfiltered is the show for you. Each afternoon from 2 to 6, we only bring you honest opinions and analysis.
We may not agree all the time, but what you hear is what we genuinely believe. It's not some rage bait to try to spark conversation. So make the switch to Unfiltered with me, Bill Colarulo, my man Ricky Bo, and Silvana Kelleher.
Every weekday at 2 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Yes.
Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. No today's headlines today with Mr. Connor Thomas. That will resume tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Brought to us by who, Connor?
Our friends over at Lundy Law. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name Lundy Law. Your injury lawyers. Visit LundyLaw.com. That's LundyLaw.com.
Well, it is time now for something that I love doing, especially when there's a lot of drama that comes out of Eagles games sometimes. It's time now for our second opinion segment.
You might not always agree with what you hear. Sometimes you need a second opinion. Brought to you by the consultants in medical oncology and hematology.
All right, Johnny, tell us more about them.
They take great care of this. Consultants in medical oncology and hematology. If you get a cancer diagnosis, you want to do a little doctor shopping, well, it's your one-stop shop. They're the best.
All right. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but again, there was so much going on in the world of Philadelphia Eagles land between tweets and 0 completions in the second half and no ground game and offensive line troubles and bad tackling. If you guys remember, I brought that up at one point. But I do want to highlight somebody who did not have a bad day of tackling, despite the 15-yard penalty, because I hate the bogus rule, but the rule is the rule, as you point out, John. Cooper DeJean was a madman on Sunday.
All over.
120 degrees at one point on the feel-like temperature. He did not miss a snap. Neither did Zach Ball, neither did Drew Makuba and Quinyon Mitchell, so shout out to those guys as well, Reed Blankenship. But Cooper DeJean was all over the field. And it goes back to what I've said numerous times, and some of you push back on it. The slot corner position is an incredibly important position, which is why I didn't want to kick him out outside, which is why I didn't want to just move him to safety, because he's not a safety, as the song tells us. Cooper DeJean in the slot is an absolute weapon. And the fact that he can go up against a tight end, a slot wide receiver, and how much have we talked about the explosive offense of the Buccaneers? He was able to do his job. 8 tackles, the leader on the team on Sunday for the Eagles in that department, playing every single snap. And big tackles, stopping guys short of first downs. Cooper DeJean's been an absolute beast, and it's still amazing how he just stepped on the field last year around week 6, and we're not looking back. So I just want to highlight more of Cooper DeJean and his performance on Sunday.
Yeah, I will tell you that Jeff Kerr of CBS has a great list of numbers out that really breaks it down for you well. The Eagles offense right now, 30th in the NFL in yards per play, 29th in yards per carry, 24th in net yards per attempt. I mean, these numbers are horrendous. And then you get red zone efficiency first.
It's amazing.
Now, interception rate is a stat that doesn't mean anything to me. But to be first in red zone efficiency and to be absolutely bottom of the barrel in every other statistic tells me when you can design a play, say, design me a play from the 15, first and goal from the 10. You can come up with the pretty plays, but can you come up with the bread and butter that you're going to need to try to win a championship? And that's what Kevin Patullo has to prove during the month of October. He hasn't proven it yet.
So there's a guy that has not gotten nearly enough shine.
Is it Braden Mann again?
It is not Braden Mann.
Damn it!
But
That's
I didn't
who I
know,
gave last
dude,
week.
I didn't know he had a motor like that. That dude was zooming, running out of the back of the end zone. No, it's a guy that's even faster. Much faster than most guys on the field. Quinyon Mitchell was unbelievable.
Yep.
And I don't think, have given him enough credit yet because we've had everything else to talk about, but he's a huge part of the reason why the Eagles won that game. And for him to be just early on in his second year and be already like one of the elite lockdown corners in football, he was all over the field covering guys and a good wide receiver core, even though they didn't have Mike Evans. Him and Coop, those guys are studs, man, and we're so lucky to have them.
And it's just the beginning. I mean, you'll have the fifth-year option with Quinyon Mitchell. They're going to lock down Cooper DeJean. They're not going to allow that to go into the fourth year. It's incredible what they've been able to do in this past draft or two drafts ago and in this past draft, right? Like Howie Roseman, again, him and his team. Jahad Campbell, big interception in this past game. We've talked about every single rookie with this team recently. Drew Makuba, what he's been able to do. I know he had a bit of a rookie moment this past game, but that's going to happen.
Did that give you even a moment of pause?
No.
No,
He's
that
your
to me
starting
is
safety.
exactly. Yeah, I'm fine.
And he was Vic Fangio's day one starting safety, despite missing a lot of camp, right? Like, think about that. DeJean last year misses a lot of camp, misses time in the beginning of the season. All right, he's healthy, he's ready to go. He's going to play every single snap and be tremendous. Drew Makuba missed a lot of time because of the shoulder injury. We thought that Sidney Brown would have won the job just kind of out of default. Not that he had a bad camp, but right away, Vic Fangio's like, nah, this is my guy. And he's been absolutely tremendous. Tell us a little bit more about CMOH.
Yeah,
John.
gotta love it. Thank you, Dr. Sprandio, and your entire team. You built a great practice. If you have a cancer diagnosis, check out CMOH. Consultants in medical oncology and hematology. They're great.
Hell yeah, Giant. Now we just need to do something about your voice.
No, it's fine. They can't help you with your voice.
All right, Jeff Mlan will be joining us coming up next. More insight on what's going on in the Eagles locker room. That's 4-0. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Putting it all together, I'm Connor Thomas, and NFL Week 4 is officially done, which means we're a month into the season. The Eagles are still undefeated, one of two teams joining the Buffalo Bills as the remaining unbeaten teams in the NFL. But through the first month, though the record looks great, there have been plenty of questions about production on the field. Nick Sirianni met with media yesterday after the win in Tampa Bay and talked about, the adjustments that still need to be made.
We were really successful in the first half and wasn't as successful in the second half. We had some plays that moved backwards, which again was kind of some of the things that happened in the previous game. So again, need to be explosive, need to protect the football, and need to be efficient.
So we've seen flashes, but the Eagles need to put it all together for a full 4 quarters, and they'll look to do that as they take on the Broncos at the Link in Week 5. Denver moved to 2-2 last night with a 28-3 win over the Bengals on Monday Night Football. The Phils are continuing preparations for the NLDS. They're going to have a team workout today at 1 p.m., and tomorrow they've got the open intra-squad scrimmage to fans at the bank, so we'll be able to watch that. Game 1s of Wild Card Series begin today in baseball, including Reds-Dodgers at 9 p.m. tonight. Phils play the winner of that series. Jeff Mlan of the Inquirer joins us next. Amy Fadul will be with the guys for the entire 9 o'clock hour. This update is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Looking for an exceptional driving experience? Experience the power, precision, and intelligence of an iconic Mercedes-Benz SUV at your local Mercedes-Benz dealer today. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
The Philadelphia Phillies, 96 regular season.
Yesterday against the Bucs, and this is what I think people aren't talking about enough from yesterday because everybody just wants to point the finger and say the offense sucks, Kevin Patullo sucks, all right? That is a very difficult place to win. The Eagles know that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are among the best 6 to 8 teams in the NFL, and they are a physical, and they are a good team. That is a playoff team, and that is a team that wants to go blow to blow, blow for blow with you, and they're not afraid to do that. And they very easily could have packed it in. They didn't. And they came out swinging in the second half. The Eagles' game plan and their offense in the first half yesterday, they came out, they were awesome. They had the umbrellas, the shades, or whatever they had. They were prepared because they saw what happened in previous years. And they said, we're not going to go down there and we're not going to let that happen again. Very smart by the Eagles to go down there and what they did. And you know what happened? In the second half, the Bucs made adjustments. And the Eagles, I think, were slow to adjust offensively. And it just seemed like that they were exhausted. And as the game went on, they had some injuries. They had guys that were cramping up. And give the Buccaneers credit. They made adjustments. You're playing against another team. It's not supposed to be easy for the entire game. And the Bucs made adjustments. And they came out, and they really gave it to the Eagles in the second half. A couple fluky long plays, but still. So that was a really, really good win by the Eagles yesterday.
Philly fans, you are the best sports fans in the world. You're not stupid, so why should you have to hear outlandish takes that make you shake your head?
You shouldn't. That's why Unfiltered is the show for you. Each afternoon from 2 to 6, we only bring you honest opinions and analysis.
We may not agree all the time, but what you hear is what we genuinely believe. It's not some rage bait to try to spark conversation. So make the switch to Unfiltered with me, Bill Colarulo, my man Ricky Bo, and Silvana Kelleher.
Every weekday at 2 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Yesterday against the Bucs, and this is what I think people aren't talking about enough from yesterday because everybody just wants to point the finger and say the offense sucks, Kevin Patullo sucks, all right? That is a very
4-0 Philadelphia Eagles, but sometimes it may not feel that way. And joining us now on the Comcast Business Hotline, where every day in business is a big day, let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. We played you some of the clips from the incredible podcast. You got to listen to all of it, Uncovering the Birds, and you got to experience the new look of Inquirer Sports, where fans can read, watch, and listen to their favorite reporters and columnists. Go to inquirer.com/sports. Our man Jeff Mlan joins us. Jeff, good morning, man. How are we doing today?
Hey, guys. What's up?
Well, there's a lot going on, as you know, and you said it so wonderfully in your podcast. So let's talk a little bit more about A.J. Brown and and everything that went on Sunday. I know you had an interaction with him, but I know he did not speak. What was he like, though, during that interaction? I think a lot of people are wondering, was he upset? Was he happy? You had the interaction with A.J. Brown. What was that like?
Yeah, I don't think he was upset or anything like that. He just didn't say he wanted to talk, which has happened before, and he was very gracious the way he did it. He kind of shook my hand, and I did mention to him that, you obviously know how this is going to be perceived, and he said, I'm cool with that, and that was pretty much it. And he left the locker room, and I would say overall, I thought the locker room was kind of subdued for a victory. Compared to previous ones and ones that we've seen from this team, so many of them, I should add, 20-1 over the last 21 games. So it felt a little different, especially going down there and getting the monkey off their backs and winning in Tampa. And Devontae Smith, same thing. I saw him very briefly, and then I went back and was waiting for him, or just kind of keeping an eye on his stall, and maybe he came in and got his stuff and went out, but that was it as well, which was, I get it. Like, there was probably some frustration there, especially with the way things went in the second half. But it was a win. And so when your top two receivers aren't talking after a victory, it does raise some eyebrows. And, with AJ, obviously he then sent the two tweets afterwards, and I found out a little more information about the context of those. But, to me, AJ, it's when he has kind of set these cryptic tweets, or he has kind of said, last week obviously being more aggressive, his intention, and he's kind of always said this. Yeah, sure, he wants the ball. You want your best receiver and one of the best receivers in the NFL to want the ball. But he's also a captain, and he's also one of the leaders on the team, and I think he believes that he's looking big picture and long term, and if the pass offense isn't working, it's clearly going to hurt the team, and those are the alarms that he raised last year in December after the Carolina game, and it ended up bearing out to be true in the Super Bowl and in the NFC Championship, and this year it's going to be even more of a concern because it's the way that defenses are concentrating their efforts on stopping Saquon Barkley.
Jeff, though, in his tweet, he says, if you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw, don't make a scene, shrug your shoulders and be on your way. So he finds a piece of scripture that he quotes, and then he chooses to do exactly the opposite. So I just don't understand, for a guy who is known as a really good teammate and who I've observed to be a really good guy, what's that all about? Because he had to know you're just causing problems at that point. There's nothing productive about what he did.
Well, I felt that, at first when he sent the tweet out, I thought, well, is he talking about the media? Is he talking about how maybe sometimes stuff that he has said has been misrepresented, or people have kind of picked at it and chose which things they want to interpret, how they interpret it or not. And already I think people are taking it to say that he wants to be traded. I don't know.
That's nonsense.
That's crazy.
Right.
I don't understand that. There's nothing there. AJ loves being in Philadelphia. Always has loved being in Philadelphia, as far as I know. I think it's fair to say that you should stand in front of your stall and you should just answer the questions. And it's easy for me to say. I'm just an impartial observer here. Because then Nick Sirianni has to answer questions about it, and then of course Kevin will have to answer questions about it today, and then if AJ does not talk tomorrow, which I assume he will. He's always kind of come around, but then Jalen will have to answer questions about it. So it does kind of create a little more extra for the rest of the team, and you don't want that from your leaders. And my guess is I think eventually he'll stand up and talk and give a little more what he meant by the biblical scripture that he quoted.
Now, until that happens, how does this message go across the rest of the locker, right? So last year, you bring up the Panthers game. We've talked about that a couple of times today, and nobody had a problem with what he said following the Panthers game. The problem then ensued when Brandon Graham went on a radio show and said what he had to say about his relationship with the Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown relationship. That's what kind of caused that storm last year. When he said earlier this year after the Chiefs game, it's fair to question if this offense is sustainable, nobody had a problem with it. It's this tweet, the cryptic tweet where we go, oh, come on, man, what are we doing here? Does that get across the locker room? Obviously, Nick Sirianni needs to talk about it. Like, do players get exhausted by this, and coaches?
Well, not if he's having, the one-on-one relationships just with each of them, or he's talking to them, or there's conversations that are being had. And, my understanding is that there are. I don't know, each of them and exactly what is being said, all that other, that's clearly stuff that's being mostly held behind closed doors. But, those conversations. Look, again, they won the game. They won an important game, winning in a place they haven't won before. And, here we are. We're almost 8 minutes into this call, and it's really just been about A.J. Brown. So, I think that speaks to how the team is probably viewing this internally. I do think, though, that there's definitely a disconnect between how they view him inside for the most part and how some people outside view A.J. Brown. And I've reported on this extensively. A.J. is definitely considered one of the better guys in that locker room in terms of just everyone likes him. Everyone gets along with him. He goes out of his way to help guys. He does do a lot of the necessary stuff that you need to do when you are a leader. I think there's obviously just occasionally some of the ways that he handles things in terms of messaging publicly and not talking or this, that, or the other thing. I think that's probably, I would agree, something that, maybe he would like to improve on, or the team would like to improve.
Right, and the reason why I asked that question is because it's directed at somebody, right? He's not just saying that. So my follow-up would be, who do you believe this is directed to?
Well, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. But, because I spoke to a couple sources that told me that because I wasn't sure what, of course I'm going to try and follow up on what's this mean sort of thing. And it's definitely something that's directed internally. But I don't know specifically who that is.
All right, let's talk about something else, though. One of them is the offense. To have two of the statistically worst passing quarters, I believe, in 17 years in the last two games is pretty crazy, the way the offense has gone. What do you believe has been the reception to that as far as the coaching staff? I mean, I heard Nick Serriani yesterday talking about, we have to be more efficient. He says we want to be, I forget the exact word, we want to be aggressive downfield, but we want to be careful and things like that. There seems to be a lot of mixed messaging, and I don't truly understand what they're trying to accomplish.
I agree. I mean, I definitely don't understand what identity they want on offense, and I don't think they know yet, really. They're still trying to figure it out, and a lot of it is based upon how defenses are playing them, which, again, they're just not going to let Saquon Barkley run for 2,000 yards or even close to it this year. It's much easier to concentrate your efforts on stopping someone like that, which is why, in today's NFL, no one, everyone, run the ball. Okay, it worked last year. You had, just an amazing season out of Saquon Barkley, and you had a great offensive line, but the offensive line isn't quite what it was last year, and you're just seeing defenses stack it. So what you need is the pass first, and often in this NFL, and you need quarterbacks that can get to the line of scrimmage and be a quarterback and change calls based upon what they see pre or and even post snap. If you're talking about the RPO game, and Jalen has that. Does he have enough of it? I don't know. Are they giving him enough of that? I don't know. I think there's a lot, though, that's going on here because I've never seen it. It's the damnedest thing, as I wrote in my column off the game. It's I don't think I've ever seen disparity between a quarterback and an offense in halves as much as we've seen the last two games. It's just Jalen has looked unbelievable in the second half of the Rams game, the first half of the Tampa game, and then the complete opposite in those games. And I think part of it is if I looked at it, if I broke it down, and I watched the film in the second half, it was a bunch of different things. Todd Bowles just basically switched it up. He didn't blitz him in the second half. He said a lot of simulated pressures at him for three-man rushes. There was only once that he blitzed him, and those gave him trouble. But there's also gave Saquon Barkley trouble. He's very, very much been struggling in picking up the blitz or picking up rushers that he needs to help with. and then there were a couple breakdowns on the offensive line. So it's not just Jalen Hurts; it's coming from all over the place. And then you look at the game planning and the play calling, and it's just like, all right, are they doing enough to help him? They did it in the first half. They gave him answers, built in answers against the blitz. But when they weren't blitzing in the second half, it just didn't seem like they had the answers for him, or Kevin wasn't coming up with plays. And on top of all that, they're in 2nd and 12, 2nd and 13. It's like you can't work that way if you're behind the sticks all the time. So it's a bunch of different things that are happening, and it's upon Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo, and then obviously I'm going to have to throw Jalen Hurts in there because he is the quarterback. He's by far the most important player on the team. It's contingent on them to turn this thing around, and they have time, obviously, and they've given themselves quite the runway with a 4-0 start.
Well, one more for you, Jeff. We're a year ago removed. 1 year ago today, we woke up. It was the Monday of the bye week following the Eagles losing to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we know what happened during that bye week. The offensive lineman went to the office of Nick Sirianni and said, hey, we got to start running the football more. Now, they don't have the bye week to turn to here. They have 5 more days until they play the Denver Broncos. Do you believe, by any way, even though nobody wants it to go this way, that this A.J. Brown moment could be somewhat of a productive moment for the Eagles where they go, all right, let's mix things up, because they've made their message clear a couple times. They're tired of the playing not to lose. Could this in some way be productive for the Eagles moving forward?
Oh, well, sure. Yeah, look, again, as I just said, they're 4-0. This is a good team, a talented team. The 2023 comparisons just don't really kind of jive with me because they have better personnel and they have better coaching, and certainly they have Vic Fangio in terms of a defensive coordinator. So, and as we saw, we didn't even mention the defense, and they played their asses off in that game and basically helped them pull it out. So, and the special team scored a touchdown. So, they have a lot of stuff going right for them. The offense is obviously a big issue. They certainly could turn it around. But as a player told me right after the first game of the season, and I put this on my podcast, for years they could just rely on when in the passing game, just kind of like the talent that they have, especially at the outside receiver spot. And just based upon the way teams are going to come in and play, Saquon, stuff like that, and how they know the personnel and what this offense is that they're just going to have to come up with new ways to scheme these guys open. They just can't throw it up to AJ and Devontae. They're just going to have to scheme things up, and Jalen's going to have to be a little more comfortable and then dipping deeper into the playbook to do so. And if he isn't, or if they aren't giving him more at the line of scrimmage to change plays, then it could be a slog. If the defense isn't performing, but I think they just have enough to keep winning because they have so much talent, even on offense, to get it done.
Jeff, your podcast is great. Your work on the Inquirer, Inquirer.com is spectacular. We appreciate the time as always, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys.
There's our man, Jeff Mlan, on the Comcast Business.
That last answer, dynamite.
Yeah.
Dynamite.
Great job by Jeff Mlan. A lot of information there. Coming up next, we'll unpack some of that, but also, why is this a problem? Oh, he just wants the ball. Well, you get nonsense like what you're going to hear next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now, a Birds Insider update on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
I'm Connor Thomas, and we're officially a month into the NFL season. 4 weeks in the books, and the Eagles are still undefeated, one of 2 teams that remain unbeaten as we head into Week 5. And the first month has not been perfect for the Birds, even though the record would tell you that they are perfect. And part of that has been questions with the offense, and some of that leads to, well, questions from the locker room, which A.J. Brown had caused by his tweet that he put out after the game. Nick Sirianni talked about A.J. Brown yesterday.
I know he wants to contribute to what we're doing out there, especially when, we had the second half that we had. And again, like I said, never question the teammate he is, never question the effort that he plays with and the player that he is and the person that he is.
So AJ wants to be more involved, but it sounds like Coach Sirianni still has faith in his star wide receiver. Now, part of the reason that has become a conversation is because of the adjustments needed with the offense. Nick Sirianni also talked about that.
We were really successful in the first half and wasn't as successful in the second half. We had some plays that moved backwards, which again was kind of some of the things that happened in the previous game. So again, need to be explosive, need to protect the football, and need to be efficient.
We'll hear from the coordinators coming up later on today, and we'll also keep an eye as they head into Week 5 with their matchup with the Broncos if they can put it all together. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Yesterday against the Bucs, and this is what I think people aren't talking about enough from yesterday because everybody just wants to point the finger and say the offense sucks, Kevin Patullo sucks, all right? That is a very difficult place to win. The Eagles know that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are among the best 6 to 8 teams in the NFL, and they are a physical, and they are a good team. That is a playoff team. And that is a team that wants to go blow to blow, blow for blow with you. And they're not afraid to do that. And they very easily could have packed it in. They didn't. And they came out swinging in the second half. The Eagles' game plan and their offense in the first half yesterday, they came out, they were awesome. They had the umbrellas, the shades, or whatever they had. They were prepared because they saw what happened in previous years. And they said, we're not going to go down there and we're not going to let that happen again. Very smart by the Eagles to go down there and what they did. And you know what happened? In the second half, the Bucs made adjustments, and the Eagles, I think, were slow to adjust offensively, and it just seemed like that they were exhausted. And as the game went on, they had some injuries. They had guys that were cramping up. And give the Buccaneers credit. They made adjustments. You're playing against another team. It's not supposed to be easy for the entire game. And the Bucs made adjustments. And they came out, and they really gave it to the Eagles in the second half. A couple fluky long plays, but still. So that was a really, really good win by the Eagles yesterday.
Philly fans, you are the best sports fans in the world. You're not stupid, so why should you have to hear outlandish takes that make you shake your head?
You shouldn't. That's why Unfiltered is the show for you. Each afternoon from 2 to 6, we only bring you honest opinions and analysis.
We may not agree all the time, but what you hear is what we genuinely believe. It's not some rage bait to try to spark conversation. So make the switch to Unfiltered with me, Bill Colarulo, my man Ricky Bo, and Silvana Keller.
Every weekday at 2 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Day 45 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. So, look, I know conversations like this aren't always fun for people because you just want to celebrate the 4-0 Eagles, and so do we, and so does Nick Sirianni, right? Right? Like, he doesn't want to do press conferences on it, and you know, Jeff Mlan was tremendous with us, in a million different ways. But one of the reasons this is a problem is, and you heard him say it, guys don't want to answer about it. You've said it 100 times. Other players don't want to have to talk about what a guy tweeted out, and that's what you're going to get today with Kevin Patullo, like you did yesterday with Nick Sirianni, like you will with Nick Sirianni again on Wednesday. Hey, have you had a chance to talk to A.J. Brown will be a question. You know that Wednesday Jalen Hurts will be asked about it. Do you feel a certain type of way about these comments made by A.J. Brown? Other players will be asked about it during their midweek availability if they are willing to talk. And then A.J. Brown, if he does say he will talk, he'll have to ask about it or be asked about it. But it also leads to stuff like this. And look, I respect this man a ton. I know you respect this man a ton, not only on the network, but also in General Hospital.
Stephen A.
Smith. And
gotta love him.
These tweets leads to what I will say is nonsense, because I don't think there's anything to this, and Jeff Mlan said it right away when we had him on. It's as if Jeff knew what we were doing in this segment from the Handy Dandy show sheet. He said, look, I see people out there saying that he wants to get traded. That's not true. He loves being an Eagle. But, again, these kinds of tweets leads to stuff like this.
Here's the reality about A.J. Brown. Like any receiver, this brother is ultra talented, and he's a Super Bowl champion. And he knows they're not utilizing him properly collectively as an offensive system, schematically and beyond. And A.J. Brown is basically letting you know, I want up out of here. Now, here's the question for the Eagles, and I'll pass it on to both of y'all. Do you hold on to him because you're trying to repeat as champions? Or do you sit up there and deduce that maybe, just maybe, he's getting a bit demonstrative early, and we might want to get him up out of here? You understand? And get some equitable compensation in return for his services, since he don't want to be here. At some point, sooner or later, they're going to have to answer that question about A.J. Brown.
No, all right, Brick is much better on General Hospital, where somebody writes his lines for him. It's just all I'm going to say to that, because that section was poorly written.
Yeah. Now, the beginning, when he says, like, schematically, he's upset with it, yeah. But, like, he's not basing that off of anything. The whole he wants to get out of there,
that's
and
terrible.
the Eagles have a decision to make. The Eagles don't have a decision to make. You know what their decision is, John? All right, how do we get him in a better spot? How do we get him the ball where it's not just the same 3 routes? Like, that's the decisions they have to make. That's the questions they have to ask themselves.
That's what they have to work.
It's not, hey, what kind of draft compensation can we get?
A.J. Brown is not looking to be traded.
Correct.
Gosh, and that could be a simple reconnaissance.
Yeah. And by the way, nobody on this show is saying, should you trade A.J. Brown for a draft pick?
No.
Because we heard that a lot this past offseason.
No, you should not.
It's not what happens here. But again, tweets like this, which is why we say they're counterproductive. And a lot of you can say, well, just ignore it. I'm just saying, tweets like this leads to stuff like that. All right, it's a Tuesday, which means Amy Fadul will join us. So she'll be in studio with us coming up next. We'll get her thoughts on all of this. Still a lot to unpack from Jeff Mlan as well, who was tremendous. But Amy Fadul, Tuesdays with Amy, that starts next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Learning from the first month, I'm Connor Thomas, and NFL Week 4 is officially wrapped up. The Eagles are still unbeaten, one of 2 teams in the NFL, including the Buffalo Bills, that are undefeated, I should say, through the first month of the NFL season. But there are some lessons that the Birds need to learn, because while their record may be perfect, there have been plenty of questions about production on the field. Nick Sirianni talked about that in the game in Tampa from over the weekend.
We were really successful in the first half and wasn't as successful in the second half. We had some plays that moved backwards, which again was kind of some of the things that happened in the previous game. So again, need to be explosive, need to protect the football, and need to be efficient.
We've seen good halves, but we haven't yet seen a full 4 quarters put together by the Birds. They'll look to do that as they take on the Broncos at the Link in Week 5. Denver moved to 2-2 last night with a 28-3 win over the Bengals. The Phillies, they're continuing preparations for their NLDS series. It starts Saturday, October 4th, this Saturday. And they'll have a team workout today at 1 p.m. and tomorrow an inter-squad scrimmage that is open to fans. Game 1s of Wild Card Series begin today in baseball, including Reds-Dodgers, 9 p.m. this evening. Phillies are playing the winner of that series, so we'll keep an eye on that closely. Amy Fadul joins the guys coming up next. Eagles coordinators will meet with media at 11:30 today. This update's brought to you by Delaware County EDSI. Attention employers, fill your workforce fast. Join PA Career Links Fall Hiring Fest October 14th. Meet qualified candidates, speed interview, hire on the spot. Register at pacareerlinkdelco.org. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Yesterday against the Bucs, and this is what I think people aren't talking about enough from yesterday because everybody just wants to point the finger and say the offense sucks, Kevin Patullo sucks, all right? That is a very difficult place to win. The Eagles know that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are among the best 6 to 8 teams in the NFL, and they are a physical, and they are a good team. That is a playoff team. And that is a team that wants to go blow to blow, blow for blow with you. And they're not afraid to do that. And they very easily could have packed it in. They didn't. And they came out swinging in the second half. The Eagles' game plan and their offense in the first half yesterday, they came out, they were awesome. They had the umbrellas, the shades, or whatever they had. They were prepared because they saw what happened in previous years. And they said, we're not going to go down there, and we're not going to let that happen again. Very smart by the Eagles to go down there and what they did. And you know what happened? In the second half, the Bucs made adjustments, and the Eagles, I think, were slow to adjust offensively, and it just seemed like that they were exhausted. And as the game went on, they had some injuries. They had guys that were cramping up. And give the Buccaneers credit. They made adjustments. You're playing against another team. It's not supposed to be easy for the entire game. And the Bucs made adjustments. And they came out, and they really gave it to the Eagles in the second half. A couple fluky long plays, but still. So that was a really, really good win by the Eagles yesterday.
Philly fans, you are the best sports fans in the world. You're not stupid, so why should you have to hear outlandish takes that make you shake your head?
You shouldn't. That's why Unfiltered is the show for you. Each afternoon from 2 to 6, we only bring you honest opinions and analysis.
We may not agree all the time, but what you hear is what we genuinely believe. It's not some rage bait to try to spark conversation. So make the switch to Unfiltered with me, Bill Colarulo, my man Ricky Bo, and Silvana Kelleher.
Every weekday at 2 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
yesterday against the Bucs, and this is what I think people aren't talking about enough from yesterday because everybody just wants to point the finger and say the offense sucks, Kevin Patullo sucks, all right?
It's 97.5 The Fanatic on this Tuesday morning, which means Tuesdays with Amy. Good morning,
right.
Amy.
Good morning,
here.
everyone.
Right before Red October and right before the Birds go to 5-0.
And I would
5-0.
love to just focus on all of that. But we can't.
But we can't.
Wow. So I don't know where you want to begin. Do you want to begin with the can't because of the second half performance or because of the post game performance? Where do you want to
Remember
start?
that? It was like,
Exactly.
we can't because of the first half performance a couple weeks ago, and now we can't because of the second half performance.
Yes.
It was watching that first half performance being amongst, I was in the newsroom because I was doing Phillies, and everybody, I just kept turning around like, is this the bland offense that we've been promised? Because that was very exciting.
It was fun.
Very exciting.
Especially the red zone offense.
The red zone offense, the shovel pass, I'm not a fan of. I've said that since I watched it in college and have like PTSD of like how many times my quarterback would throw it to the wrong human. It just makes me very nervous because it is a very, very risky pass.
Timing, yeah.
And the first thing I thought of, they did it twice. Talk about lack of risk averseness, if that's even an expression.
But if it's well coached, then
exactly,
you do
it's a great working play. And then the Saquon Barkley fake tush push stuff, like it was very creative. And then to see it come to a grinding halt was jarring.
Amy, that building, we were there. We were
jarring.
lucky enough to be there. Shout Philly Sports Trips. That building in the upper bowl was a lot of Eagles fans.
Yeah.
When they would do the Get Loud for the Bucs fans, it was dead silent.
They had Get Loud, and they had the
fake.
They're showing like the fake noise meter.
And it was like that noise is not happening.
You're like,
and
it
then
isn't.
the second half started, and then they let everybody get back into the game, and the Bucs
It's a big
fans
difference
got
maker.
loud, big time.
It's a big difference maker. I mean, we like to, think that we can change the outcomes of games. And, in the grand scheme of things, no. But there certainly is an effect that the fans can have on it. We've seen that here, certainly in baseball, and you see it at the link all the time.
Yeah.
How much that can kind of, if your momentum's going your way, can kind of get that swell going along with it. You kind of ride the wave. So
and when it's quiet, you get tight. Like we've seen it again. Phillies, 7th, 8th, 9th innings.
Absolutely.
Against the Diamondbacks.
Because people are sitting there like,
Everybody
we're
was
nervous.
tight.
Yeah, you're just clenching. So it was the air went out of everything just to see the way that it was so differently. And then we get to the post game and I was like, oh, okay. All right. Now we've got people sending out cryptic tweets, and I was like, this is where we're at that point of the season. We're cryptic tweet season.
It's so amazing. What's so
4
amazing
weeks
though
in,
is
cryptic tweet season.
you have a quarterback who's so anti that. You have Jalen Carter, as we played earlier, who comes out and goes, "No, I'd rather not have 6 sacks and a loss. I'd rather have a win and not worry
Play
about
bad
the stats."
and win, 6 sacks
It's
and a
so
loss. Yeah.
counter to the message of Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts and what they say is the culture of the team. I'm just surprised that AJ went down this route.
Yeah, it's you know what, he's allowed to express himself in any manner with which he chooses, and I appreciate that, and I know that he has been frustrated. He was frustrated last season. We saw it. Heck, you can go back 2 seasons ago with the frustration level with him. He's a guy that doesn't say it without saying it, and he's always been that guy. So he's certainly been true to his form. You go back to his days with the Titans and his level of frustration. He would kind of have these cryptic things, and he really wouldn't come right out and say things. So it is odd that they're winning and he chooses to do it, have these kind of messages out there, because when you do that, as we've known from covering other athletes in this town, when you do that here in Philadelphia, of course we're going to read too much into it.
Oh, yeah.
That's the design of it. And you know that going in. So anybody that comes out and says like, well, maybe he didn't, or if he says, maybe I didn't. No. You knew what you were doing, and you're stoking the flames of whatever anybody. And I get it, your perception is your reality. But when you leave it so murky, we don't know what you're talking about. And so we're just going to assume the worst, and that's where we're at.
By the way, I appreciate Jeff Mlan telling us in our interview, he said, I did say to AJ, because I guess he saw the tweet when he was still with AJ saying, you know how this is going to happen, right? And AJ Brown said, that he's fine with it. There's a lot more to unpack. We will continue to as you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibility. Later today, where we unpack some more things from the Eagles game that we did not get a chance to get to yesterday, but there's a reason why there are things that we didn't have a chance to get to yesterday. And that, of course, was the cryptic tweet from one A.J. Brown. Now, I will say this. Good morning, John Kincade, first and foremost.
Good morning for the 400th time, Andrew Salciunas.
Oh, that's right. Happy show number 400, man.
And Connor Thomas.
We celebrated leading up in Clearwater. And
we did.
And Connor watched this on social media. Looked fun.
It was.
When it comes to the Eagles game yesterday and the reaction that we had to it, we did not spend 4 hours on the A.J. Brown tweet. There was a lot to unpack.
We didn't spend more than like 20 minutes on it.
Yeah, because there was offensive issues in the second half, which, of course, led to the A.J. Brown tweet. There were defensive issues at times in the game, and, of course, the pass rush, a problem that I was totally worried about going into the season, has kind of showed its ugly head so far. Now, part of it's obviously Nolan Smith being out. We understand that. There's context to everything. But now that we are another day removed from the game, and now that there's not as much emotion when it comes to the game itself, I do want to spend more time on the situation that we got going on right now with A.J. Brown and the Philadelphia Eagles, because we can't just ignore this. This can't just be something where it's like, all right, well, another day's been removed. It's time to move on, because here's the deal. Nick Serriani had his day after press conference yesterday. And what was half of the press conference spent on? What A.J. Brown had to tweet out. What will be a lot of the press conference today for Kevin Patullo? It's going to be, hey, how are you going to get A.J. Brown the ball? What are you going to do to get him more involved? What's tomorrow's press conference when Jalen Hurts does his midweek media availability? It's going to be A.J. Brown related, and maybe that's usually when other players speak as well. So A.J. Brown may speak tomorrow.
He may.
But the deal is, this story is not going to go away until he speaks and until we see the following game. Because if you remember, I don't have to go far back, John. The Carolina Panthers game that was horrible, that led to a win, but it was horrible. We had a week's worth of discussion over what was going on in that locker room. Now, a lot of it was because of Brandon Graham, and he is to blame for that, not the media trying to stir things up. Brandon Graham goes on a radio show and says that A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts have beef. And then, unfortunately, we have to wait until the midweek point when A.J. Brown talks about it, when Jalen Hurts talks about it. But it's not necessarily words. It's the actions that follow. And the following week was the Steelers game. And then we had the great moment from Jalen Hurts when he sits down at the podium and he drops is that what y'all wanted to see? Now we're going to have to also wait until the Broncos game on Sunday to see how A.J. Brown is used in the game. Because if he's used in a way where it may lead to another cryptic tweet, the messaging will continue. And this is why yesterday we tried making the point that this tweet, it's not even his words, it's scripture. Whatever he posted is so counterproductive, because then it leads to conversations like this. And unfortunately, we catch heat for it. Oh, you guys are going to spend time on this. Oh, it's the media's fault. No, it all starts with hitting send, and it never needed to be hit.
Well, obviously, A.J. needs to meet with his pastor or whatever to understand Scripture, because, again, he didn't understand the message of the Scripture, so he needed to find another verse because he went counterculture to the Scripture. He totally ignored it. He went the opposite direction. But the big problem is that I really did, and we talked about it off the air, I wanted to just be able to, like, deal with it a little bit yesterday, and then we move on from it.
Sure.
After yesterday. But then I heard Nick Sirianni. And Nick Sirianni's late for his press conference yesterday.
Which, by the way,
is completely disrespectful.
Yeah, like I like Nick. You like Nick. We all have said that Nick Sirianni has grown as the CEO, head coach. But this is a problem.
When NFL head coaches have their press conferences, the NFL Network actually airs some of these.
Sure.
And they will say, this coach is coming up at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. And you know what they do? The coaches come up at those times, and they air them. There's a reason for that.
Now, maybe.
Be respectful of times. Now, I have a feeling.
Maybe the meeting was, he said, I'm late because of a meeting. Maybe the meeting was with A.J. Brown, and maybe he wanted to prepare how he was going to talk. I don't know.
Well, if they did have a meeting yesterday to prepare him how to talk, I'm going to tell you this, and I have been extremely praiseworthy of Nick Sirianni and how he has grown as a speaker.
Correct.
And how I think he has owned press conferences for around a year and a half.
Sure.
2 years. He's gotten so good
seen
at
a
it.
maturation process from Nick Sirianni.
I voice texted you from a Wegmans parking lot yesterday after picking up stuff. And I said that was the worst answer Nick Sirianni has given to a question to start a press conference since his first year. And to me, Nick Sirianni was completely unprepared, or he doesn't have an answer. And now that gives me more concern.
And so we're going to play this for you and pull you behind the curtain a little bit here, like we always like to do. When Connor first walked in, Connor, I said to you, hey, I want Nick Sirianni's first answer unedited. Now, this does not mean he cursed in it. Like, we're not talking FCC regulations. We're talking the hemming and hawing, the not necessarily knowing what to say, because to your point, John, when it seems like you don't know what to say, you may not have an answer on the situation. And maybe it's frustration because the Philadelphia Eagles are 4-0.
And he's having to deal with this nonsense.
The Eagles, to Nick Sirianni's defense, had a hard-fought win in 100-degree temperatures against a team that has had your number over the years, and you were able to hold on for dear life. You're 4-0. You're the second, only two 4-0 teams in the NFL, the only one in the NFC. You're the defending Super Bowl champs. Vibes should be high, and yet they're not. So maybe Sirianni is just frustrated. But here was Nick Sirianni. You'll hear the question from Tim McManus, how the press conference started yesterday. Again, this is why stuff like this is counterproductive, because now the entire press conference, or half of it, will be spent on A.J. Brown. Here's the interaction between Tim McManus and Nick Sirianni yesterday during Sirianni's day after press conference.
Nick, I'm sure you saw the AJ post on social media where he quoted scripture and said, if you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw, don't make a scene, shrug your shoulders, and be on your way. Is it your understanding that AJ still wants to be here?
Yeah. Obviously AJ is very important to this football team. I know he wants to contribute. And, do the things that he's capable of doing. He wants to contribute into these wins. And he's had a couple games where he hasn't been able to, and for different reasons of why we haven't in these games. So, but I question nothing about, his desire to play great football, his desire of being a good teammate, his desire to be here.
So you said that's his worst answer.
That was the worst answer. That was... Brown decided after a game, one of 53 players, he decided to say, I'm going to make this all about me. I'm going to put out the cryptic tweet. I'm going to make this a thing. And the thing is, I sort of understand where his frustration's coming from.
Quote, if you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw. Don't make a scene, shrug your shoulders, and be on your way.
Well,
now, let's talk about this, because I'm with you. A.J. Brown should be doing more, and I'm not saying he should be doing more. The offense should tailor more to A.J. Brown.
Yes.
But here's the deal. If you are going to believe in the messaging, then shrug your shoulders and move on. Don't post on social media. This is like a nurse or a doctor telling you to stop smoking, and then they go outside after your appointment for a cigarette break.
Philly fans, you are the best sports fans in the world. You're not stupid, so why should you have to hear outlandish takes that make you shake your head?
You shouldn't. That's why Unfiltered is the show for you. Each afternoon from 2 to 6, we only bring you honest opinions and analysis.
We may not agree all the time, but what you hear is what we genuinely believe. It's not some rage bait to try to spark conversation. So make the switch to Unfiltered with me, Bill Colarulo, my man Ricky Bo, and Silvana Kelleher.
Every weekday at 2 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
While, we have you here, you're not naive to the conversation following last season and the way that everyone, the frustrations around this city following the team last season. If you had the opportunity to address the fan base the way you have right now, where, you're live on the radio, what would you want to say to the fans of this city and the people of this city as it relates to the upcoming season?
I think the biggest thing that I would say is, man, one, we appreciate you guys. We appreciate every fan that shows up. We appreciate every fan that loves us, that criticizes us. My biggest thing is, like, for us, we have for me to give y'all outlook or give y'all hope, I'll say, come look at the VJ Edgecombs, come look at the Justin Edwards, come watch the Bonus, come watch the Trendins, come watch these new guys who y'all haven't seen before. And then you also have superstars as far as Paul George and Joel, you know what I mean? And little old me, I'll be there too. And we're always going to go out there and play our hardest. I can guarantee you that.
It is a Tuesday morning, which means Amy Fadul with us for the remainder of the show today before we hand things over to Middays with Marks, Johnny Marks at 10 o'clock. So, Amy, obviously, one of the biggest storylines, if not the biggest now, is because of the A.J. Brown cryptic tweet. So, I asked the question, what do you do now? Now, let's get a couple things off the table. Number one, nobody's saying trade A.J. Brown. All right.
Good Lord, hope not.
Nobody's saying that.
Nobody is saying that A.J. Brown wants to be traded except for Stephen A. Smith. Nobody is saying that. But I also can't have anybody say, and we'll get to our text line in a second. Connor, have those ready at 610-632-0975. When I ask the question, what do you do? An answer that we can't have is, we'll just get him the ball more. Because they targeted him 9 times last week. They targeted him 10 times against the Rams. They targeted him 8 times against the Chiefs. And we're still at this point because it has not been efficient. Even though Nick Sirianni says it has not been efficient. Just not turning the ball over does not necessarily mean that your offense is efficient. So when I ask the question, what do you do? Do you have the $1 million answer for us, Amy?
Oh, I wish I did.
We know what Amy does.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that there's obviously internal conversations that need to happen, if not have already happened, but to continue to happen. You can't. And listen, I don't necessarily agree with the way that A.J. Brown goes about things with the passive aggressiveness. That is his choice. I think it's weird, but whatever. I'm sure that there has been a conversation, will continue to be. But if this is going to be an ongoing issue, these need to be addressed. And there needs to be a group effort, group meeting of let's get everybody together. Okay, let's come to Jesus, call on the carpet, whatever you want to call it. We're all here. We're all working for the same goal, and that's to get this offense firing on all cylinders for 4 straight quarters. Not 2 quarters, not 1 quarter. That's been the issue, right? Take AJ out of the equation. There have been issues with this offense firing on all cylinders for the entire game. So is he part of it? Sure. Everyone's part of it at this point. But there has to be something that can be done to make sure that this doesn't happen. And I mean the lack of consistency. Is A.J. Brown a part of that? For sure. I need your input on why you feel like 10 targets, yet no actual feeling of accomplishment is what you're going through, is what you're experiencing, A.J. And then Jalen, what is it? Jalen needs to get outside of his comfort zone and actually talk about what he feels like as well. I feel like there needs to have that, and I'm going to stop short of calling it a team meeting because I don't think a 4-0 team needs to have a team meeting. But the offense certainly needs to have more of a collaboration, and I'm sure that's happened. I'm sure it's happening right now. I'm sure it'll happen today. I'll be very interested. Tune in at 11:30 or whenever that Kevin Patullo is going to be talking a lot about what they need to do. But targeting AJ is one thing. Getting him the ball is a completely different thing.
Right.
And it sounds like it's the same sentence, but it's not.
Jalen's whole the hounds of negativity is just nonsense after those last 2 outings. And just saying, we won the game. We won the game. It's good enough.
And I appreciate that.
But the standard
right.
that they always talk about, the standard is the standard. If you're going to give me the Confucius cookie about that, read that fortune cookie to me. You can't give me, oh boy, the hounds of negativity. No, Jalen.
Yeah, this is
it's
not
every bit
But I
deserved.
love what he said week 3 to Pam Oliver when he was like, we got to stop playing not to lose. That was an honest Jalen Hurts.
That was as honest as he's been. Yeah. And I feel like you need to have a little bit more of that right now.
Correct.
Because of what's going on with your offense. I know that you're 4-0, but let's face it. I don't know that you deserve to win that Bucs game. Go back, there's a couple other ones you could throw in there.
Oh, absolutely.
But you're thinking about the way you operated in the second half, and I know you could say defense all you want, but at some point you have to keep putting points on the board. This is a good Bucs team. There's a reason that everybody knows that they're everybody's kind of fun pick to get to the NFC title game. It's because they have winners on the other side. They've got guys that can play.
Hey, Tommy wants us to answer a question. Which game did they deserve to lose more, in your opinion? Was it the Rams game or the Bucs game? I think it's a hands down the Rams game.
Oh, easily. Not even close.
Yeah, because I thought the game was over.
I thought it was over.
Third quarter.
I never thought the Bucs game was a loss.
Yeah.
I was concerned.
We were scared as hell.
I was scared as hell.
It was so funny. How nervous were you? Because they went up to that big lead, and I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting next to Ricky, and he's like, I knew they were going to blow him out. I was like, Ricky, this is way too much time for this team. That was at halftime. I was like, there's way too much time for this team.
The Bucs game seemed like it was slipping away. The Rams game seemed like a loss.
You walked away from that thinking, oh, wait, they did win. It didn't feel good. And it didn't feel good at the end of the Bucs game either. And I feel like a lot of us from the outside looking in, we do have a little of the 2023 PTSD creeping in because that was 10-1, but that was about as fool's gold at 10-1 as we ever saw.
Yeah, and new OC and all that kind of stuff.
I do think that there are more positives to take away from this 4-0 than I thought in 2023. I do see a lot more signs of positivity and glimpses of what can be instead of just squeaking by. I just feel like they're just missing one or two pieces, just missing one or two things. And I don't know what it is. It's a certain shift that needs to happen, a little tweak in there.
Give us a text message there, Connor.
All right.
610-632-0975.
John V checks in on what they can do or what do you do now, and he says just simply better play designs. You can't call a good play on game day if the playbook is predictable and AJ is running simple high school routes.
Yeah, I'm
telling you, those routes are...
Dan
That's
Orlovsky was at
football.
week 1. He said they were too predictable. And
it's confusing because it's A.J. Brown. If you have Mechie out there running a high school route, a guy that literally just rode up there, all right, thanks for playing. Thanks for running
Keep
around.
it simple for the new guy.
This is a guy
That's
that
different.
can give you a 50-50 ball. It's 70-30 him for A.J. Brown.
Absolutely. All right, coming up next, we keep on saying there is nothing productive that can come of this. Well, could it be? We will remind you all, we'll talk more about it coming up next, that we will soon be celebrating the 1-year anniversary of what turned the season last year toward winning a Super Bowl. We'll discuss that next, coming up here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Wrapping up Week 4, I'm Connor Thomas, and NFL Week 4 is officially wrapped, and the Eagles are one of 2 unbeaten teams in the NFL through a month as we move into Week 5. It's them and the Bills, and through the first month, the Birds' record, it may be perfect, but there have been plenty of questions about the production on the field, especially on the offensive side. Nick Serriani met with media yesterday to talk about the second-half struggles in Tampa Bay.
We were really successful in the first half and wasn't as successful as second half. We had some plays that moved backwards, which again was kind of some of the things that happened in the previous game. So again, need to be explosive, need to protect the football, and need to be efficient.
Next up will be the Broncos for the Eagles in Week 5 as they look to put it all together. Denver moved to 2-2 last night with a 28-3 win over the Bengals on Monday Night Football. The Phillies are continuing to prepare for their NLDS series. Starts Saturday. They'll have a team workout today at 1 p.m. Tomorrow, an inter-squad scrimmage open to fans at the bank. Game 1s of Wild Card Series begin today in baseball, including Reds-Dodgers at 9 p.m. tonight. The Phillies play the winner of that series. The Eagles coordinators will meet with media coming up at 11:30 this morning. This update is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Looking for an exceptional driving experience? Experience the power, precision, and intelligence of an iconic Mercedes-Benz SUV at your local Mercedes-Benz dealer today. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Every game day right before the Birds take the
Brown decided after a game, one of 53 players, he decided to say, I'm going to make this all about me. I'm going to put out the cryptic tweet. I'm going to make this a thing. And the thing is, I sort of understand where his frustration's coming from.
Quote, if you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw. Don't make a scene, shrug your shoulders, and be on your way. Now, let's talk about this because I'm with you. A.J. Brown should be doing more, and I'm not saying he should be doing more. The offense should tailor more to A.J. Brown.
Yes.
But here's the deal. If you are going to believe in the messaging, then shrug your shoulders and move on. Don't post on social media. This is like a nurse or a doctor telling you to stop smoking, and then they go outside after your appointment for a cigarette break.
Philly fans, you are the best sports fans in the world. You're not stupid, so why should you have to hear outlandish takes that make you shake your head?
You shouldn't. That's why Unfiltered is the show for you. Each afternoon from 2 to 6, we only bring you honest opinions and analysis.
We may not agree all the time, but what you hear is what we genuinely believe. It's not some rage bait to try to spark conversation. So make the switch to Unfiltered with me, Bill Colarulo, my man Ricky Bo, and Silvana Kelleher.
Every weekday at 2 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
While, we have you here, you're not naive to the conversation following last season and the way that everyone, the frustrations around this city following the team last season. If you had the opportunity to address the fan base the way you have right now, where, you're live on the radio, what would you want to say to the fans of this city and the people of this city as it relates to the upcoming season?
I think the biggest thing that I would say is, man, one, we appreciate you guys. We appreciate every fan that shows up. We appreciate every fan that loves us, that criticizes us. My biggest thing is, for us, we have for me to give y'all outlook or give y'all hope, I'll say, come look at the VJ Edgecombs, come look at the Justin Edwards, come watch the Bonus, come watch the Trendins, come watch these new guys who y'all haven't seen before. And then you also have superstars as far as Paul George and Joel, you know what I mean? And little old me, I'll be there too. And we're always going to go out there and play our hardest. I can guarantee you that.
Brown decided after a game, one of 53 players, he decided to say, I'm going to make this all about me. I'm going to put out the cryptic tweet. I'm going to make this a thing. And the thing is, I sort of understand where his frustration's coming from.
Quote, if you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw. Don't make a scene, shrug your shoulders, and be on your way. Now, let's talk about this because I'm with you. A.J. Brown should be doing more, and I'm not saying he should be doing more. The offense should tailor more to A.J. Brown.
Yes.
But here's the deal. If you are going to believe in the mess, Amy Fadul with us for the remainder of the show this morning. So, Amy, we're nearing an anniversary. So, this day last year, September 30th, 2024, was the Monday morning following the Eagles-Buccaneers game when it was horrible. We know the context to it without A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Lane Johnson, the Heat, the defense having to be on the field 4 times in the first quarter. They were gassed. There was no shot they were going to win that football game pretty early on. But we know that game plan was wretched. And the game plans the previous 3 weeks really weren't much better.
Mm-hmm.
And so here we are, deja vu, having a similar conversation. But we don't have a Week 5 bye.
There's no Week 5 bye.
So during the Week 5 bye, we know what happened. The offensive lineman went to Nick Sirianni's office. Hello, we are the big men that can block for the all-pro running back behind
something
there.
fun to do.
Can we do that? And to Nick Sirianni's credit, sure, let's do it, right? Whereas a lot of coaches, and this is something that I always try to say because even though I was saying before the season started they should have done that, and when I hear Nick Sirianni after Week 2, Week 3, Week 4 say we don't know our identity yet, I question that. But there are some guys that won't listen,
right?
And I credit him for listening, even though I thought it was crazy it took so long, but whatever. Do you think 1 year later, even though this is counterproductive to everything because everybody has to talk about a tweet, could there be some weird spin that this is productive, Amy?
I mean, I feel like if it leads to a greater conversation of opening up the offense and getting a little bit more creativity, because you saw some creativity in the first half of that Bucs game. You know, I was talking about the shovel pass, obviously the Saquon around on the fake tush push. There are those signs that they have the ability to get to think outside the box, to do some things that are different. And then when you look, as you guys were mentioning, the routes that A.J. Brown runs, like, it's A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
It is not Johnny Wilson. No offense, Johnny Wilson. It is not a guy that's brand new to the
Man's
league.
leg is in a cast right now.
Right?
You're taking
I
shots
know, I'm
at
sorry.
Johnny
He got
Wilson.
strays.
Yes.
sorry.
He's still on the dating apps, I bet, but he's
Oh, wow.
in his uniform.
Extra strays.
In his uniform.
That's a tough. That's
a tough look, but
That's
it's
tough. But that's the thing. You have an all-pro wide receiver, a multi-Pro Bowler. Like, let's be honest. A.J. Brown, when unleashed, is one of. Remember when he first got here? We're like, the Titans let this guy go?
Yeah.
Hilarious. He's still there. This is not like 10 years ago, and he's not washed up. He is an excellent receiver. He can high point a ball with the best of them. I've always talked about it. The 50-50 balls are not 50-50 with him. They're closer to 70-30. And I feel like you're just having him run these, and I would feel lazy about it. They look lazy routes.
Jeff McLean said it. There's a lot of clips that we got to play probably some point tomorrow, Johnny, when we have more time. McLean said, like, there are some times where it looks like he's not really busting it on some plays because it's
when
the
you
same
see the
thing.
all-22 and you see for the 5th time he's running the exact same route, I'm kind of on A.J. Brown's side. Like, cool, guess what I'm doing right now?
Well,
I'm going to run 5 yards this way and 2 yards that way.
There was some blocking video that's out there that can be found on Twitter. That's off of some people that have the the NFL Plus.
Sure.
There was some blocking that was not to the caliber of A.J. Brown blocking. On
and he's
Sunday.
known as a physical blocking wide receiver.
He's known as a superior, top 20% of his field,
Sure.
definitely, of a blocking wide receiver.
I would imagine those came near the end of the game.
He may have been less than enthused. It was second half. Less than enthused.
And that's the
but
thing. You have to have that conversation with him, too.
Yeah, there's no excuse for that.
There is absolutely. I get that maybe you're bored with the routes or maybe you're frustrated, but you still have to participate in the game because you're an important part of it, whether it's blocking or running these.
Correct.
No matter what your opinion is of them. And that's for something after the game. Clearly, that was a tweet for him.
Right.
But you know what I mean? That's a conversation not to have in the middle of the game in your mind.
Right.
Because I feel like when you've made that decision, we've all played sports. We've all seen guys that are just like, not having it.
I'm going to mail it in because I'm not
having
involved.
it because I'm not involved. You see them running, and that's literally for every sport. Baseball, basketball, football, soccer, whatever. We've all seen the guys, hockey, they're like, oh, I'm out. So they're just out there just kind of moving around, going through the motions. That is not the time to make that decision. You have to do that afterwards when you talk to
and then you tweet about it.
Yeah, and then you tweet about it, and then hopefully it leads. But to your point, Andrew, it does, and it should lead to a conversation. It's disappointing that
because it's him, right? This isn't Taiwan Walker after the Phillies get eliminated from the playoffs and he's liking tweets about Rob Thompson. This isn't Quez Watkins. A few years ago,
right.
Quez Watkins was on social media complaining about the offense.
Remember those Taiwan Walker ones were during the playoffs.
Yeah.
It was during the Arizona series.
Right. So, this is AJ Brown.
It's AJ Brown.
But here's the thing. Okay, so some context to this productivity conversation, right?
Sure.
Do you know the significance of October 13th, 2024 in the Eagles season?
Nick Sirianni shaved his head.
Damn right. That was post-bye, and we had a Britney Spears breakdown from our head coach where everybody lost their mind. He's yelling at people. He's bringing kids to the press conference.
You mean that's when the boss brought him in for the little...
No, that was October 14th.
Oh, that was the day after.
Yeah, the day after was when the boss brought Nick Sirianni into the office.
Now, something productive came out of that bye week. But at that time, we did not know that. And it took some time for that to take effect. So even if something productive comes out of this, it may take a couple weeks before we start to see the actual benefits of it. And it doesn't mean we shouldn't have faith in this team still to win games. But if anyone's expecting A.J. Brown tweet, switch flipped, everything's fine against the Broncos, it took time last year.
But again, this is where the counterproductive conversation happens. And I've said this a couple times today. This story will continue today when Kevin Patullo talks. It'll continue tomorrow when Jalen Hurts talks. You hope that A.J. Brown talks tomorrow. And even if he does, it's not over. Because if they play the Denver Broncos and it looks similar, what are we all going to do? We're going to tune into post-game show on 97.5 The Fanatic or NBC Sports Philadelphia.
Or post.
We're going to be refreshing Twitter, and we're going to see, is he going to tweet? Is he going to talk?
So
and now that's 1 week later we're having this.
That's the one thing he needs to think about. And I go back to what Herm Edwards thinks. You got to think before you tweet. You got to think before you do it. And you do because of that. Not just because of the repercussions immediately or even a couple days following that we're still talking about it. But 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, really probably the rest of the season, you're always going to be looking, even if he has a great game, is he going to send out a tweet now? Because that is always going to be in the back of our minds of anything he sends out. At that point, he should just go ahead and stop social media.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter, good or bad, he can't win when you don't explain what it is, right? So if it's a positive tweet in 3 weeks, we're still going to be like, oh, well, what made you happy about this?
Is it because you had 8 catches for 120 yards?
Well, why the difference? And why does it matter to you if the end result? You know what I mean? So it's like you've opened yourself up to this unnecessary kind of judgment. We should just be talking about the game, and instead we're talking about your tweets.
Yep. All right, give us a text message, Connor. You can text the show 610-632-0975.
You've been to a press conference or two.
Or two.
Yes.
So we do have some people that feel this way, and this texter says 4-0, 4-0, 4-0. Let it go. It's not as big of a deal as you guys are making.
All right, see, and that's where I laugh because, first off, I understand. You're a fan. You want to celebrate.
I understand the feeling.
Same. I told the story earlier. John and I driving back on the bus from Raymond James Stadium back to the hotel. Everybody was in a great mood. Everybody was freaking hot as hell, but everybody was in a great mood. Go Birds, 4-0. Man, they were able to survive and advance.
Wow, this is awesome.
And then when the AJ tweet came out, the entire feel on the bus shifted. So you want to say move on just because you're evil Philly media. There were 50 fans on the bus that also had the same feeling as we did. And then when players have to be asked about it, and you don't know who this is addressed to, maybe Kevin Patullo feels a certain type of way.
Yeah.
Maybe QB1, he is him, feels a certain type of way about this, considering what we found out last year.
Correct.
So when you say this is nothing, move on, we don't know how Jalen Hurts feels about this. We don't know how Kevin Patullo feels about this.
You can't move on until you hear from the people that are directly, or at least seemingly directly,
and we heard from Serriani yesterday, and it wasn't great.
And
that's the thing. It's obviously affecting him as well. Here's the guy that's the CEO of his team, and one of his workers is not happy and is taking it to the external memo. Like, imagine if you worked at a company and one of the employees sent out a message on LinkedIn or whatever. You would, as a CEO, you would take personal offense to that.
Sure.
What have I done wrong? So I get that people think that the media is going to blow it up. The media's job is to report on what's happening. This is what's happening right now. Right now, you've got a very unhappy star wide receiver, and he's not telling you exactly why. He's just sending out these little messages. You got to find out. That's literally our job. So I don't like when people say, it's like the last year with Brandon Graham thing. Well, Brandon Graham did that.
Yeah.
I guess we should just choose to ignore it.
Right. When the player on the Philadelphia Eagles said it.
Yeah, people just, listen, they are 4-0. You can still celebrate that, but it doesn't mean it's not without cracks in the foundation.
And again, if he said once again, hey, is this sustainable? That's a fair question.
That's a fair question.
We're
Absolutely fair.
We're talking about it, but not like this.
Right.
It's the cryptic tweet where you go, come on, brother.
Come on, why do we need
coming
to do
up
that?
next, in response to that texter there, 4-0, 4-0, 4-0, move on, we'll play you Nick Sirianni from yesterday when he was first asked about it, and you can tell by the way the wheels were spinning, he's not necessarily move on, let it go. You'll hear from Serriani coming up next. Also, maybe we can move forward a little bit because we have Red October this weekend on Saturday, and John wants to point out a major disadvantage for the Broncos, who the Eagles face on Sunday. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Unfiltered with Ricky Bo, Bill Colarulo.
Brown decided after a game, one of 53 players, he decided to say, I'm going to make this all about me. I'm going to put out the cryptic tweet. I'm going to make this a thing. And the thing is, I sort of understand where his frustration's coming from.
Quote, if you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw. Don't make a scene, shrug your shoulders, and be on your way. Now, let's talk about this because I'm with you. A.J. Brown should be doing more, and I'm not saying he should be doing more. The offense should tailor more to A.J. Brown.
Yes.
But here's the deal. If you are going to believe in the messaging, then shrug your shoulders and move on. Don't post on social media. This is like a nurse or a doctor telling you to stop smoking, and then they go outside after your appointment for a cigarette break.
Philly fans, you are the best sports fans in the world. You're not stupid, so why should you have to hear outlandish takes that make you shake your head?
You shouldn't. That's why Unfiltered is the show for you. Each afternoon from 2 to 6, we only bring you honest opinions and analysis.
We may not agree all the time, but what you hear is what we genuinely believe. It's not some rage bait to try to spark conversation. So make the switch to Unfiltered with me, Bill Colarulo, my man Ricky Bo, and Silvana Kelleher.
Every weekday at 2 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
While, we have you here, you're not naive to the conversation following last season and the way that everyone, the frustrations around this city following the team last season. If you had the opportunity to address the fan base the way you have right now, where, you're live on the radio, what would you want to say to the fans of this city and the people of this city as it relates to the upcoming season?
I think the biggest thing that I would say is, man, one, we appreciate you guys. We appreciate every fan that shows up. We appreciate every fan that loves us, that criticizes us. My biggest thing is, for us, for me to give y'all outlook or give y'all hope, I'll say, come look at the VJ Edgecombs, come look at the Justin Edwards, come watch the Boners, come watch the Trendens, come watch these new guys who y'all haven't seen before. And then you also have superstars as far as Paul George and Joel, you know what I mean? And little old me, I'll be there too. And we're always going to go out there and play our hardest. I can guarantee you that.
Interesting question from our man Tommy Reardon. He says, is dealing with a cryptic tweet / social media antics year in and year out sustainable? So, like the offense, is this offense sustainable? That's a fair question. He's wondering if dealing with that on a yearly basis, is that sustainable? And as we have said a couple of times, this is third straight year where there's been something A.J. Brown related. Now, again, context matters. Last year, the A.J. Brown passing offense, that was not the problem. It was Brandon Graham. So I don't really think of last year.
And that was a problem, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was Brandon Graham. Like, A.J. Brown
the
did
breakdown
not.
of a complete relationship.
He did not cause that. Like, whatever is going on in-house.
He illuminated it.
That's them. They handle it your way. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going, screw you, A.J. I'm going to dump it off to Dallas Goedert. Like, no. So I understand the 2 years ago thing, the 2023. But he then came back and ended up speaking to the media, and as you mentioned, John, he was the one that said, "Hey, we went rogue." Like that was on.
He admitted that him and Jalen, and that took. But it was 9 days later.
Yeah,
that he admitted that him and Jalen went rogue in Seattle. So it took him 9 days to correct the record that Nick Sirianni was getting.
Oh, he was getting destroyed. Yeah. But last year, I
don't think anybody believed the Nick Sirianni's explanation that he had said
trying to get a pass interference call.
Right. Yeah,
But last year was not A.J. Brown's fault. Like, that was Brandon. It was BG.
It was internal.
Totally his fault,
though. Internal that probably shouldn't have been made external.
No, never should have been made external.
But the answer to the tweet is yes, it's absolutely sustainable. Is it ideal? No. But, let's look around the NFL for a second at things going on with other wide receivers. Statements being made. Things that are happening off the field that keep them unavailable due to suspension, fights over contracts.
Okay, but let me ask
but
you,
none of those.
Which of those teams are winning?
Yeah,
I mean, the Detroit Lions have a wide receiver who was on NBA 2K till 4 a.m. and he's getting that exposed and stuff like that before a game.
I mean,
the night before a game, we would find that to be a problem. Like,
it depends on how he did in that game.
Yeah, he played very well.
He was on an 18-game win streak in NBA 2K. I can't blame the guy.
And he played well in the game.
Well.
I would have no. I would be like, that's just impressive.
The joke is Kyler Murray.
We would have a problem.
Yes.
The day of the game.
Yeah,
sure.
And then the day after, when he balled out, everybody would say,
"We made a little bit too much of that.
Do this more often."
I mean, the Vikings won 14 games last year. They had a wide receiver suspended for weeks for stuff off the field. I mean, listen,
was Addison suspended last year?
No, he was suspended to start this year.
Yeah,
but that's
and they're 2-2.
That's different though. To me, that doesn't seem to be like these cryptic tweets can turn into a pervasive nature.
Yeah,
correct.
And I feel like that's where
tell me
you're
what the Dolphins have won.
No, nothing.
With all due respect to the player who unfortunately got really hurt yesterday, but tell me what they've won with some of the antics.
Okay, well, the reality is 2 teams have won in the past 7 years.
Yeah,
so.
you know what? A lot less drama.
You got a tight end headbutting his head coach out in Kansas City.
That's their own personal thing.
Okay, you can't just do that's their own personal thing. This is the nature of the NFL.
But
Stuff
that's
like
a
this is
pretty
going to
in your
happen.
face thing. That's what I'm saying. This is too cryptic. When you have this passive aggressive nature, they can eat away at things.
There's nothing cryptic about those other things.
Like when you're yelling at your head coach on the sideline, it's
there's
like, all
nothing
right,
cryptic about it.
Maybe you air it out. Maybe that's what they need to do.
And Andy Reid, when that happens,
comes right
talks
through
about it immediately after.
This is what we do.
It's
This
not
is how
a
he
cryptic,
thinks. Yeah.
It's like 7th grade girls.
Literally, he got into the locker room and sent that tweet out. You said Jeff Mlan was literally talking to him while he saw it.
And he obviously doesn't understand scripture, which is a whole other issue.
I know it became a fun story last year. The book was nonsense last year. Let's be honest. I know they won the Super Bowl and everything was great.
Yeah,
and then the book climbed the #1 on the chart.
It's a good book.
That's nonsense. Doing that on the sideline is nonsense because everybody's going to have the same thought. What the hell is he doing?
By the way, the Inner Excellence, they're at least, I'm stealing this from people who put it out on social media last night, so it's not my thought. They said if he actually had read Inner Excellence, there are numerous points in that book that would have told him, don't press send. get the hell off your phone and stop and don't do something
Well,
like
he might have read
that.
it.
Okay, he
Just didn't mean
definitely read it.
took
No,
it.
he ignored
didn't
it.
heed
Guess
the
what?
advice.
He didn't.
This isn't a LeBron
but
first
he
page
didn't-
of a book
no,
thing
but
that
he
we're
didn't.
doing.
Well, he didn't. Again,
Just because he read it didn't
no.
mean he agreed with it.
Well, he
I read a lot of books.
He
I
quotes
don't agree with all of them.
He quotes the scripture that he shares with everybody, but he doesn't follow it. He didn't follow the inner excellence advice either.
I think the scripture has his own meaning to it. Scripture is one of those things that you can take it in different ways for him, I think.
Be quiet.
Well, yeah.
He may be quiet inside the NovaCare.
He didn't say anything. There's nothing to be said.
Well, he's done
he didn't
nothing but
speak.
distract the entire organization this
Well,
week.
here's the thing. To the sustainability question on that tweet, they've won 20 of their last 21 games. I'd say it's sustainable.
Gotcha. All right, a couple of things to move on from Tweetgate. My God,
Tweetgate.
There's so many gates last year. Now we got Tweetgate.
Bookgate.
Johnny, you're pointing out let's start with the football aspect because let's talk about the future game, which is this upcoming Sunday against the Broncos. You believe Denver has a major disadvantage.
It's really bad, Denver's. This is bad, and this is not only bad for now. Do you first of all, and I put it to you and Amy and to Connor, do you guys believe in history as far as franchises? Like as far as travel history, things like that?
I believe
As
in
far as a
certain things.
franchise's history, as far as
I believe in Kirk Cousins, like prime time.
Okay.
Stuff like
specific
that.
person.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know about a team.
But
because
like
it's so
I
different.
believe like
you hear those things like, oh, this team doesn't play well in pick the weather.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't
well,
know
the
about
travel for Denver.
okay.
Denver coming, having to play in the Monday night game and then having to play in the short window 1 o'clock. We already know when teams have to come east for the 1 o'clock. Now, they're a mountain team, so it's not as much as the
Rams.
Western time frame teams
Right.
having to come to the east for the 1 o'clock. The mountain time frame, though, teams, they almost have as bad a record. It's not as bad, but it's almost as
Still
bad a
difference.
record, the 1 o'clock times. It's not a good one. But the 1 o'clock teams, if you look at mountain times coming off of the Monday night football games, it tends to be very, very unforgiving to them.
Well, yeah, because you think about it. Today, recovery day. Wednesday, probably practice. You're getting on the plane, what, Friday or Saturday?
Saturday.
Like you lose playing Monday night. You lose a whole day.
Now the thing is too is
Playing
also
Thursday, you lose.
do they get acclimated to the will you say did they bother getting acclimated to the new climate when you're talking about playing outside of their altitude? And sometimes Denver does make the decision to travel early to certain altitudes. That they will travel early to get used to it because it is a difference.
They travel
playing.
early if it's not in the Philadelphia type of vibe. It would
Yes.
be travel to like a lower,
If they
like
travel
sea
when it
level
goes
type
way
of thing.
level.
Yeah.
But so there's
But also, they're more well conditioned. That's why athletes train in the altitudes.
so these guys are.
I think it'd be more of a factor going to Denver than.
Oh, well,
Absolutely.
no,
It's always- the altitude is a real
it's
thing.
much more for the teams coming there. So it's going to be an interesting week for them.
Okay.
It's going to be an interesting week, and it is. The numbers would tell you though that teams in their situation are really up against it.
Okay.
Coming in this weekend.
Go Birds.
So go Birds.
And then you have some birdies about potential playoff
Yes.
scheduling because Red October begins Saturday.
Yeah, Red October begins Saturday. Here's what you need to know. There's only one potential chance, and only one, that the game will be at 1 o'clock on Saturday. The only potential chance is if some TV executive says Phillies Reds is 1 o'clock. If it's Phillies Dodgers, it is going to be 7 o'clock. There's no option. It will be
Love
7 o'clock because they will choose LA Philadelphia every time TBS is choosing LA Philadelphia
markets.
over Milwaukee and San Diego or Milwaukee.
Two tiny
whatever.
markets. I
They're
mean,
not
those are
going to go.
mid-markets.
That's not even a question. Monday night, if it's the Dodgers, I've been told will be 6 o'clock. It will not be 8:30. They will not get
Leave
the 8:30
work early,
game.
people.
They will give the Milwaukee Brewers the 8:30 game because they're in the central time zone. So it would be a 7:30 start for their fans. And if they were playing the Padres, if they end up playing the Padres in that, they're playing the Padres in that point, if that would come about, they would be playing in a time slot where the Padres would be good for their viewership.
Sure.
They would have no problem. If they were playing the Cubs, it would also be playing another central time team. So the Phillies will not play in the 8:30 slot on Monday night by TBS's standards because then the teams are going to get on a plane and travel
Yeah.
for Game 3. So that's good news for. So you're planning on if it's Phillies
not for
Dodgers.
everybody. Monday 6 o'clock's not good news for everybody.
No.
People are at work. People,
Yeah, a lot of people.
hitting
That's a
traffic.
tough time.
That traffic between rush hour and getting to the ballpark is going to be
Well, traffic
nuts.
didn't start at 3 o'clock. It'll start at noon.
I think Monday 8:30 would be awful
I would.
for a lot
No.
of people.
No, I
Really?
think it's better for
You'd
people.
like
Look
it
at Monday
better?
Night Football.
Yeah.
I think Monday would be the better time. You're thinking about yourself, Mr. Four.
See, I think I'm thinking more baseball crowds. I always think baseball is a little different than football because
People love it late at night.
See, I think you see many more kids at a. I think you see
But you'll
many
see
more
the-
kids at a baseball.
Who are you kidding? You're going to see the kid. This game could be at midnight, and you'd see the kids.
I
there.
was at that Jamie Moyer game 3. Didn't
on.
start till 10:15.
Yeah, and there's
I was
just no
ready
way.
to go, man.
I mean, you see these will be like if 12th inning. It's like 12 o'clock at night, and they look in the stands, and there's absolutely kids that are out there, and I'm like, of course, I'm sitting next to one. Sometimes he's like, "See," and I'm like, "You're right."
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah, you're sitting next to me, okay, friend. So you're still up
School's
too,
for fools.
okay?
Look
Hello, friends.
Hello,
Do the
friend.
homework in the morning at the breakfast table. Also, Andy, I got to debate you because I don't know if Red October starts on Saturday. Reds October might start today because we might need to be rooting for Cincinnati starting tonight.
Oh, we had this conversation last year. No. We're not rooting for anybody.
Oh.
We're going to let it all play out.
You cannot root for anybody. It's Reds October until Saturday.
See, Amy,
You're a Reds fan.
I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm Team Connor.
No, last year we like, oh, wouldn't it be? But you should root for the. No, I'm just steering clear.
The only team that I think can beat the Phillies in the National League in a series, 5 or 7 games, is the Dodgers.
No, they play the Dodgers exceptionally well.
Yeah,
That's confidence right there.
I love
They
Amy's
do.
confidence.
They play the Dodgers well.
They're actually under 500 against the Reds this year.
They play both teams well. I'm very positive about both, but I am not going to be. We had this conversation on Sunday, like, who would you? And I'm like, I'm not. And I asked Ricky and Ruben, I'm like, I'm not answering that.
Yeah.
That's a question from me
I'll
to
take
you.
a 3 if they play the Reds.
I'll take 3. Okay. Question for you guys. Are you in on the inter squad game? And by in, I mean like fan, like you're going.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome.
I want to bring my son. I might do it just
Well, you
because
better
I
hustle,
would
by the
imagine.
way.
I know.
You see
I
how
know
many
the tickets
they've already sold?
The tickets are like selling out quick.
It's
I bought
fantastic.
them immediately.
It is It is
10
fantastic.
a.m. I'm sitting watching soccer, and I'm like, let's go.
So what's
That is
that
so
vibe
great.
like? Because
So
you
we were
want to
wondering
try
this.
to make it playoff atmosphere, but you don't want to
All I know
boo your
is
players.
they better do Duran's intro because there's going to be a good chunk of these fans that have probably never seen it and are not going to see it in Red
Sure.
October, and I feel like that's something the Phillies would do just to simulate it for the fan, but also to simulate it for him, right? I mean, he's an important part of going forward in the postseason. If you want to simulate this game, let's trot out the closer in a high leverage situation. It'll be interesting to see because when we watch the scrimmages, like for the Eagles, they set up certain scenarios. All right, now it's a 2-minute drill. Now it's a 4th and 1. So they set it up. I don't know how that'll work.
I think they're going to.
They had the scrimmage last year. You just couldn't see it.
Well, I know before last year
Or fans couldn't see it.
they drew. Last year when they were preparing for this and they didn't do it to this degree. Didn't they have team? They picked 2 team.
They
captains,
drafted. Yeah, they
and
drafted.
They did a draft.
I would imagine there's going to be a little bit more organized than that. Like, this is your team.
I was wondering if maybe they would draft maybe like with the people in the building.
No.
Make it like a showman. Like
Yeah,
make
I don't
this
think
like
it's
a
that.
game
Castellanos
show.
would be the last pick, and then we'd have crypto tweaks.
No,
from
he's saying
him.
just in front of the people.
Oh.
I don't
Yeah,
think
I don't know.
I think the teams will be. Yeah. Can you imagine
Bad
for a scrimmage,
pick.
a charity scrimmage? I think there's going to be a certain aspect that's going to be for the fans, but I don't think that. I think
You don't
the
think
teams
they're
will be.
gonna go that
I think
far?
the teams will be decided.
Do you strategically
personally.
have like all the lefties are going to start. Like
Yeah.
Castellanos plays against the left-handed pitching team.
Yeah.
Because that's all he's going to, if they're
Correct.
platooning.
Correct.
So Kepler faces the right-handed pitching team.
Well, I think honestly you have to trot them all out there, because the only platoon I would entertain is that right field. I'm not messing with any, and I get Edmundo Sosa has been very good, but I'm trying.
No.
I'm not doing any more platoons. I got 1 platoon.
You're not
And
even
it's
thinking
just-
to start Sosa?
Nope.
No.
I'm not.
All right.
Hey, support life-saving cancer research. Join Pierce Phelps Bryan Heating and Air Conditioning Contractors. They made a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research, and you can too. Go to 975thefanatic.com/AACR because I'm living proof 3 times over that cancer research saves lives.
Amy, as always, you're the best.
Thank you, guys. Always good to see you. I'll see you.
Thank you, Amy.
So next week.
Yeah,
You'll see us
you're
after
the real
game
voice
2.
of reason on this.
You'll see us after game 2 of the
That's right. I'm planning, hopefully, going to that game.
Well,
Fingers crossed.
Well, enjoy yourself. Amy, thank you so much. Middays with Marks comes your way next. Everybody have a great rest